What's going on? Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans fell to the Browns yesterday, 27-3, and on a day neither the offense nor the defense could gain any momentum. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans offense were held to just 94 total yards, averaging 1.7 yards a carry, and their longest play from scrimmage was a 31-yard pass to Chris Moore.
Tannehill drops, looks, throws deep right side, and the pass is caught. Moore, what a catch! He took it off the back of the defender and is ruled down at the 9-yard line. Timeout, Tennessee.
Titans fall to 1-2 and look to rebound against the Cincinnati Bengals, who face the Rams tonight at 7:15 right here on 104.5 The Zone. Elsewhere in the AFC South, the Texans humbled the Jags 37-17 in a game that the 2022 AFC South champs never led and went into the half down 17. The Texans scoring the most points they've ever scored in Jacksonville and a touchdown by a unsuspecting scorer.
The ball is bobbled, and it's picked up by the fullback, and he's got running room. Andrew Beck, after Boone couldn't handle it, it's still going. Beck, he's going to go all the way in. Did we just see what we just saw?
Beck's the heaviest touchdown scorer of 50 yards or more in a kickoff return. And probably the biggest story yesterday, Travis Kelce absolutely crushed it in front of new boo Taylor Swift, hauling in 7 catches for 69 yards. Very nice, and a touchdown. Taylor Swift was seen screaming obscenities next to Kelce's mother, so you can only assume things were going well. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on another Reaction Monday of 2023 as the Titans fall to the Cleveland Browns 27-3. They are 1-2 going into another matchup against an AFC North opponent this upcoming weekend. But this one wasn't great, and we've got a lot of time to take your phone calls about it. It's 615-737-1045. The F&M Bank chat officially open, where you can watch the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. No line there. You can skip right to the front and get your comment in about how terrible of a loss this was. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Bowling. Monday, September the 25th, and the Titans got punked in Cleveland.
Ooh.
Yikes.
That was probably the best word for it. Nothing went right yesterday. Not even a little bit. Some things were good, but even that got overshadowed by all the bad and madness that happened yesterday in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think just from the jump, I had this eerie feeling like this is not going to be the Titans' day.
Yeah.
Just from the jump, things were not going their way, and they progressively got worse.
It did. That was what was most surprising about it. Yeah, that's a great point to make. It progressively got worse. It did. There wasn't much. There weren't many highlights. There weren't many positive plays. There weren't many things to build off of in that game. It just simply wasn't. You saw players running into one another on offensive plays. The offensive line couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. The running backs were hitting the backfield the entire time, and your quarterback got sacked. Lots went wrong yesterday.
Best highlight was a play that should have been overturned, and it wasn't. So your best play of the game didn't even really count, actually.
Yeah.
On one of those DeAndre Hopkins catches on the sideline. Offense couldn't get going in any capacity. One of Derrick Henry's worst games in a Tennessee Titans uniform, and Andre Dillard is just an overpaid Dennis Daly. That's all he is.
Yeah, I saw that. Andre Daly yesterday. I was just like, oh, don't do this, y'all.
Well,
it's warranted.
If you don't want us to do it, then don't give up so many sacks every single week.
The one before the half was most crushing.
It was inexcusable, some of the mistakes this team made, and we've got a lot of time to talk about it because there's a lot to dissect on how this dumpster fire started. And I think ultimately, guys, when you run the ball for -2 yards in the first half and then you run the football for 20 yards in the whole game with Derrick Henry, you've got no shot against anybody worth anything in this league.
Yeah, and look, coming into this game, we put out the stats on this Browns defense. Okay?
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, y'all should have assumed after listening to the show, or at least learned something from the show, that it's probably going to be a low-scoring game. Just because the Browns defense, in my eyes, is freaking legit from the front to the back.
Yeah.
And they were without Greg Newsome, too, cornerback. But they had not even allowed anybody to get in the red zone. Now, the Titans were there twice. They were 0 for 2. Barely giving up anything on the ground and through the air. And what did they do? They did just that. However, the Titans had some opportunities, and they completely shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they did.
Completely. And that's where there's no excuses in that way.
One of those red zone moments, too, was also from a turnover. So it's not like the offense worked in the red zone. And I feel like in one of those situations, they started in the red zone, they ended up out of the red zone. They lost yards on the drive. They lost more yards on drives than they actually gained when they were close to the red zone. I heard Mike Keith say that on the call, and I was like, okay, I know this is a bad day. But Kayla, to your point, before we even go diving deeper into it, we did this on Scout Meeting Wednesday. We talked about it throughout the week. Everybody had their input on how good this defense was with the Cleveland Browns. Jim Schwartz is going to do Jim Schwartz-like things, and he did. You guys should have saw in person and just heard and felt what it was to see that defense doing what it was doing. The first few plays of the game, I think it was 3 and outs, 2 3 and outs to start the game off.
Yeah.
And looking at that D-line and linebackers and secondary hover around the Titans line of scrimmage almost look like a pack of bees. You ever saw somebody, or at least in the movies, be animated when they hit the wasp nest or the bee nest or the hornet's nest? That's kind of what it looked like. And I actually had faith in this offensive line and be like, oh, man, they're going to push through. You can't be that ballsy as a defense. You can't be that ballsy of a defense and expect not to get burned is what I was looking forward to. And they didn't. They got to the backfield. They interrupted guys' routes coming out of, coming off the line of scrimmage. They just pretty much smothered the offense at the line of scrimmage. And that's okay to say that. They were a good defense yesterday. And I even said on the broadcast, I didn't see much panic from the O-line. But I'll tell you this, that group, Cleveland Browns, were big. They were mean. Mm-hmm. They were fast to make plays, and they didn't let many opportunities miss when it came down to what they did. They stopped the run on the way to the quarterback, and it showed all throughout the game. And
we talked about Myles Garrett just smiles maybe too much. Yeah, and he was smiling a lot on the sideline. I'm like, yeah, this guy is really happy all the time, isn't he?
But we also said that too, remember? Myles Garrett left last week Monday night game with 1 tackle, 1 quarterback pressure. Mm-hmm. Players like that, you hopefully don't get the wrath of the next week.
Well, and then look who you have. You study the tape, and you say, oh, I've got Dillard for lunch and dinner and dessert?
And dessert, Kayla. You know what the dessert was? Can we say that right now? We're going to say it right now, the interview afterwards?
What are you talking about?
With Dillard.
Yeah,
the
we'll
dessert,
get to it.
Okay. The dessert was him pep talking Dillard afterwards.
One of the most embarrassing things I've heard an NFL player say in a locker room ever. That, hey, yeah, Myles Garrett, and we'll play the audio coming up. Yeah. Myles Garrett actually gave me some advice on how I should be better. Give me a new left tackle. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The awareness to say that after a game to the media is crazy to me.
Well, he doesn't really talk usually at all.
He shouldn't have after this game either. If you're going to say stuff like that.
I was very surprised that he even spoke.
Oh. That was the dessert, Kayla. Yeah. And he got 2 servings of it.
Yeah.
That's a defensive lineman playing chess, and you haven't even graduated to the the checkers table yet.
But by the way, because Dillard Daly, that's all I see. What is Daly doing over there?
He's in Arizona.
I know,
Nothing.
over there. That's
Doing
what I'm
nothing.
saying.
I
What's
don't
he
think
doing?
He's starting in.
Not
He's
playing.
Okay, so he's
reserve.
not even playing.
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
he's a
just
body.
Curious. Just curious.
That was dessert, man. That's a hard pivot right there.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. And when we get to that portion of the show, I want to dive deep. We can all dive deeper into that one. But all in all, not a great day. Even defensively, it wasn't a great day.
They were bad defensively. Bad.
I think one of you guys may have said it too going into this week. You don't want the bounce back game from Deshaun, the get right game. You don't want the Houston Deshaun.
That's what we
Against
talked
your
about on the
team.
pregame show.
Yeah.
Blaine said it. He said, "You better be careful."
You don't
Deshaun's
want-
like, I'm going to get out there. I know we don't have Kareem Hunt. I got to get right in sub point. They're
Yeah.
calling for DTR.
Yep.
What did he do? He got right against the Titans.
He got
Go
right.
figure.
You don't want a player like that has that capability, who's been trashed, and this fan base wanted him benched to have a get right game against you. And it was a get right game for Deshaun Watson.
Dennis Daly on IR, by the way, in Arizona.
Oh,
I mean, he's stealing
God.
again.
it's probably better where he is.
Man, I was just thinking that he's stealing again.
To look at the bright side, though, this is kind of like you get in a fight in school, but then there was also a bigger, better fight on the other side of school.
Well-
At least you didn't get 70 points scored on you. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be some kind of optimism to eke out of this. Like, somebody got their ass kicked worse than we did, right?
Yeah. Like, he got his braces knocked off? Really?
Oh, they stepped on his glasses and threw him in a
Right.
locker?
And there are proofs of concept for teams getting a mulligan loss in the NFL. Everybody kind of gets one weird one. The thing is, though, weird things weren't necessarily happening in this game. Your weaknesses just got exposed in a way that they hadn't been in one game in a little while. Yeah. This is not a fluky loss for the Titans. They got soundly beat on both sides of the football and on both sides of the line of scrimmage, where as much good as we say about the Titans' defensive line also didn't really affect this game very much.
No.
Danico Autry had 1 sack. Other than that, you were creating pressure from the secondary and from the linebackers. I think the only group that played decently well were Jack Gibbons and Azeez Al-Shire. I don't think anybody else really can leave this game feeling good about the effort they put forward, other than maybe DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe.
Yeah.
I knew it was bad whenever, I think it was the last 4 minutes of the game, 5 minutes of the game. Vrabel pulled Azeez off and put money in. I said to myself, no. They're doing the young guy emphasis right now. That's bad whenever you do young guy emphasis in the NFL, and that happens. Like you said, everybody has that game, but that's when you knew it was a wrap right there. You had no opportunity to win the game. I was just like, ooh, it's bad.
That last touchdown too, they gave up. There was no effort. There was zero effort.
It was a bad look. Like you said, Will, you simply just got pushed around yesterday. You got bullied. And I'm used to seeing this team, this defense, specifically them, bully people around. Secondary didn't have an answer. The defensive line didn't have an answer. You had Deshaun bottled up a few times in the backfield. And that's what Deshaun does. He gets out of those tight situations like that more times than not. And he made plays down the field. On the opposite side of it, Tannehill got out a few times and looked down the field to make a play. Nowhere in the zip code.
We'll get the full recap coming up. 615-737-1045. We'll start with Dave and Michael on the other side on the phone lines as well. If you're hanging on hold, we will get to you. You're first in line. So give us a couple minutes, and we'll get to your thoughts on the loss yesterday. 615-737-1045 here on a Reaction Monday edition of RKW.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We are afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or it may be a small problem now that'll become bigger later, or it may be nothing at all. Bottom line is, we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. What we need is a peace of mind, and United Structural Systems is the company to give you that. They have over 25,000 100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they have made it happen. When USS comes out to your house, you're going to get a problem solver who can provide a peace of mind to you, the customer, the homeowner, okay? You're not going to get someone who's worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, the only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. Homeowners trust USS. They've been keeping homes dry and stable for over 25 years. They guarantee the best every single time. USS, serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can reach out to them at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
Monday morning. Monday morning at RKW, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045, our number. In the F&M Bank chat, you can watch and interact with the show on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Thank you.
I know today.
Say it with your chest.
A dark Twitch, please.
As we go to the phones, Dave in Old Hickory leads us off first this morning. What's up, Dave?
Good morning, fellas.
Morning.
Hey, as a Titans fan, I have never been disappointed in the past 10 years. I'm just always pleasantly surprised when they win, but never disappointed when they lose because it's not that I expect it. I just know what they are. So I think it's just a team to watch. It's interesting at times, and it's entertainment. And I think you just have to keep that in mind when looking at the Titans because they haven't changed in years. What I want to talk about this morning, ask you guys about to talk about, was the officiating because it's league throughout, and the two very, very bad calls that you saw in the Titans game, they give rise to the conspiracy theories, particularly when we have gambling is so is so huge in the league. And to have that call where Gene Steratore came out and said that he thought that Hopkins got his toe down, he saw some grass moved, and then the whiff on Amari Cooper. I mean, that one was just unbelievable. So, but I saw it throughout the rest of the day and throughout the night. The calls are just bad. And I mean, what's going on with that? What is the recourse there? Because is that just something we have to live with now? Is it a little WWE-esque, or what's going on with the officiating in the NFL?
Thank you, Dave. I did think officials across the league had a pretty notable rough day yesterday, specifically in Baltimore, where Indianapolis was not given a face mask and not given a pass interference in two major moments, and then ends up winning that game because of it. And then the roughing the passer on Minkah Fitzpatrick last night and Sunday Night Football, but. On the list of things that are noteworthy from Titans-Browns, officiating is low on my list, to be personally honest with you.
Yeah, I would even say that the officiating, we know that's a human error. It's almost like balls and strikes in baseball. You're going to get some, you're going to miss some. I thought they were pretty wide open yesterday with the push-offs, both sides of the ball when it was allowed. I thought D-Hop got away with one. I thought Amari Cooper got away with one. It was a bunch of the sideline judge, I think, was a first-year guy, too. I heard Mike Keefe say that on air. It's just hit or miss sometimes. And when you're on the short end of the stick, it's super highlighted.
Yeah, I think in every game you can kind of point out certain calls, right? That you're like, wait a second, that's a head scratcher. And this one in particular, I think the biggest one wasn't even anything that the Titans, were complaining about because obviously that player was in bounds for Cleveland. I can't remember who it was. And they didn't even see it. I mean, they blew the whistle. And that's kind of what happened in that first game. I think the Titans, they blew the whistle early, right?
Yeah.
And Kevin Byard scooped it up and ran it in.
Did.
So there's been some kind of horrific situations that stick out and then make you really scratch your head. But in all, you can't really put it on that at this point because that's just how bad the Titans played.
That was Amari Cooper on the sideline.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
That was a heck of a catch, too.
Yeah, and those stick with you. Those calls definitely, they stick with you the rest of the day. Like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
615-737-1045, our number. Michael is in Nashville. Up next with us this morning on the phone line. Say, Michael.
Good morning, RKW. What's good, man? I miss talking to y'all.
What's up, Michael?
Great to hear your voice.
It is. Coming in with the energy this morning. I'm wondering which way this is going to go.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's going good, man. Y'all know I've been out here daddying with these twins. I like how y'all stole my slogan, though, RKW. I see that now.
Checks in the mail, man.
Copyright is that.
Listen,
Hey, you know what, man? It's the Titans, man. And the only thing Mike Vrabel cares about is winning the AFC South. But even that right now is going to be a toss-up with the way everybody's loaded. Regardless of how bad teams play, somehow, some way they manage to play good against the Titans. And you got a struggling Cincinnati team that's about to come in here and they're going to play good against the Titans because that's just who we are. You know, I don't get disappointed. I'm surprised when they win, too. You know, this year I'm floating around that 8-8 phase, you know, because that's just where we're going to be. We're a middle-of-the-pack team. We're behind, I want to say, 2 years when it comes to draft picks. So this team is behind 2 years, behind the ball on everybody. You know, it didn't shock me. We got a bunch of guys who know how to play hard, but we ran up against a bunch of skilled guys who know how to play. So we got exposed, and best believe everybody's paying attention. So I'm still ride or die with my Titans, man, but I'm not disappointed. I'm just used to what we're seeing. So my question to you guys is, what game this year is going to be the turnaround game?
Oh, Lord.
Appreciate the call, Michael. Thank you.
There's some good points in there, too.
Needs to be Sunday.
Yeah.
But I'm more worried about that being the turnaround game for Cincinnati, depending on what they do tonight.
Yeah, and we're still not 100% that Joe's not playing tonight.
Correct.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
I think important coming up, just some division matchups for them. Because, look, you look at this AFC South right now, it's not great. And Jacksonville Jags were supposed to be the belle of the ball coming in, according to national media.
Yeah, according to national.
We made several points on the show that pump your freaking brakes because now they've got everything on their shoulders because they're supposed to be the Trevor Lawrence and Jags darlings. And really, they've come out and underperformed. They just got whacked by Houston yesterday.
Yeah.
Houston's not a good team.
Yeah.
Okay? So, to me, these division matchups coming up early in the season, those are big for the Titans.
But even that's going to be
AFC South.
frustrating, I think, moving forward, the AFC South, because you speak about it. What is winning the AFC South if you can't compete out of the division?
Right.
I think
But you
that's
got to
going to
win those at least,
That's
right?
very true, and you want your ticket stamped to the offseason. I mean, to the postseason.
Right.
You do want that. But I think a lot of people, when we heard Michael right there say, what? Like, I'm okay with the South.
Mm-hmm.
But is that if that's the only goal, then what are we getting ourselves into? And I think that's where a lot of the hesitation and frustration comes into from a fan's perspective.
Sure.
The Titans realistically could end this season first or fourth in the AFC South.
Yeah.
Based on the performances we've seen the last 2 weeks from them, from Indy, from Houston, and from Jacksonville, who's sleepwalking through the first month of the season, just like they did last year.
Yeah. Oh.
I think at that point, you're looking at this game in Indianapolis in 2 weeks is the one that needs to be the turnaround game because that's a place you've gone and won 3 straight years, and you need to continue that. 4 straight years, in fact. 19, 20, 21, and 22. You've been successful up there in Indianapolis. But that's looking far ahead. You got to focus on a Cincinnati team that's going to play tonight. For the second straight week, you get somebody on a short rest, and let's hope it actually makes a difference this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could not tell Cincinnati played Monday in the way they played yesterday.
No. You mean Cleveland.
Browns?
Cleveland. Yeah.
No, you couldn't.
You could not. And they just came out ready. Again, they looked at that as a bounce-back game. And you can tell in their demeanor. Again, that line of scrimmage presence that they had is just bully guys around.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen anything like that to happen to this team. And that's where it became very frustrating. And to me, I couldn't understand why there wasn't a switch being turned on. But I guess when you have 3 and out offensively, 3 and out, and you have Cleveland starting the game, not just one double play. I mean, one double reverse handoff pass, but 2 of them. Now, one of them didn't get many yards behind it, but they were just out there. I felt like just, okay, we're going to toy with them a little bit. And I think that was the disrespectful aspect of that game, was just like, oh, you just out here trying stuff with us. You don't do that with a franchise quarterback like that. A double reverse pass and then come back with a double reverse run in the same series.
It was all hands on deck game from Cleveland.
It was.
So,
completely.
To that point, Will, because I was saying how Blaine Bishop said in the pregame that sometimes these kind of games scare them when they lose a big player. Like Kareem Hunt, like you saw, Kareem Hunt wearing the Nick Chubb stuff.
Yes.
Everybody, Garrett with the Nick Chubb stuff. Can I ask you, as a player, realistically, had that ever happened to you in Pittsburgh? Is that really something where sometimes they rally so big in a game that they can just kind of triple what their production is?
Oh, yeah. That happened against Cincinnati when Shazier went out.
Okay.
We finished that game.
Ryan
Probably
went out,
shouldn't have
that's
won
right.
that one. And the next week, I think we won too. So, yeah, that does has an effect. It does. It's not a football thing. It's a team thing. And it shouldn't have no bearing on the game because there's a week in between, but that does play a part in it, though, too. You don't want to drop the ball for a guy like him.
615-737-1045 is the number. Josh is in Franklin up next with us this morning on the phone lines. What's up, Josh?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Maybe I'll save you guys some calls today. And Ramon, you got to tell him I'm right. But all these Jets fans and Titans fans need to come to an understanding that all of them keep talking bad about their quarterback that's in there now. And it's like, that's just ignorant to be against your quarterbacks right now. Because in the Saints game and in the Jets game, you see these guys coming in on top of people. There's no way that Tannehill is going to be able to do anything with people on him. Tom Brady in his prime couldn't play good for the Titans right now because he's getting hit everywhere. Now, Ramon Foster had a Hall of Famer quarterback behind him. But how many Ramon Foster jerseys were there out there, really?
Man.
The game is won by the big guys up front. And if the big guys are letting people in, then you're not going to win. And this goes along with the Jets fans. Hey, you know what? You had your answer. You had your quarterback. But what happened? He came in and was getting nailed every time, ends up hurt. And guess what, Titans fans? You have a problem with Tannehill, you're going to get your opportunity to see your backups because he's not making it through the season. So if you're on the team Kentucky, if you're on Team Malik, then you're going to get your chance because your quarterback's not going to make it through the season.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate the call.
Well, I thought he was for the quarterbacks, and then at the end of the call, I'm like, wait, are you for the quarterback
Well,
or
he's just
not?
saying they're going to get hurt.
No,
I'm
just joking.
By the way, Josh, there was about 57 people in the stands with Foster jerseys on, and they're all family members, okay?
Look at that.
They're all there.
I was going to say, Slay had a number 73 jersey.
Look at that.
He
Back in
did.
the
I
day.
know what he's getting at, though. You got to know the guys up front got to protect, and that's so true. Before we take the next call, it wasn't even just them because it was protection by team. It was team protection yesterday. Y'all, the tight ends. Trayvon
Wesco?
Wesco.
What was he doing?
Whether it was tackle for losses or sacks given up, nobody had an answer yesterday.
And then, by the way, this is a little bit out of the picture because, again, we haven't even talked. Wiley's not even out there. Right? Like
he was out there a little bit. He was out there in the first couple series, but
in the viral clip where the Titans are motioning two guys following Myles Garrett. He was one of the two guys. Okay. They were motioning with Myles Garrett that then got a delay of game, and then Jim Schwartz is seen laughing on the sideline like a Cheshire cat.
That's right. He was.
As he should.
He had a eating grin.
Well, y'all, I ain't got nothing to say about that one. I got so much to say, and I think we need to save that one for the protection conversation. But that right there just... He's smirking on the sideline about you trying to move the protection to Myles Garrett's side, and Myles Garrett's just running back and forth.
The Titans' best lineman who had the chance to block some of these D linemen is hurt after an appendectomy a couple weeks ago and has played one career NFL game.
Now we have that conversation.
Yeah.
Now we have that conversation.
The Titans' best offensive lineman has been out for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now dudes start having trials at left tackle.
Yes.
Right now,
yes.
With what we're seeing from Ravens also, like now we got to figure out the musical chairs, right?
We are going to learn if Mike Vrabel learned his lesson last year about sticking far too long with Dennis Daly. Mike Vrabel is a player's coach. I think Mike Vrabel is a good coach. Mike Vrabel sticks with his guy a little bit too long, a little bit too often for me. I believe that is one of his flaws. And the Titans stuck with Dennis Daly last year because they didn't really have that many options. And I still think they stuck with him too long. When Nicholas Petit-Frere gets back from suspension, when Peter Skronsky gets back from his appendectomy stuff and the abdomen injury that he's got, Titans actually have some options this time. Use them.
Yeah.
Use them in any capacity. You've got better edge rushers that are going to come to your stadium again. Not many better than Myles Garrett, obviously. Still going to see Watt. Still going to see an Indy defensive front that looked pretty good yesterday against Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So, figure it out. Honestly.
Baltimore, rush game. Yeah, you got a lot of people coming in this building that are trying to get after your quarterback. Miami's defense. I mean, Whew, it's a lot. Got to get it figured out.
Jay in the F&M Banks chat says Vrabel is sticking with Tannehill too long. Wasn't the case a week ago, that's for sure, when he had his second best completion percentage in his career. So, once again, on the list of things that are problems right now, where's Ryan Tannehill for you guys?
He's a little bit further down the line for me. I'll be honest
Probably
with you.
9th or 10th.
Yeah. He's a little bit further down the line. His miscues yesterday on those, impromptu plays, I'd love to see him connect on those. Mm-hmm. But he ain't really got much to look forward to whenever the pocket has I'm talking about a 10-second split time as far as him getting the ball out. And that's from either side, too. It can be up the middle. It was some plays made up the middle. And you also hinge that on the fact that there is nothing you can do in the passing game. I mean, in the passing game when you can't establish the run. I don't think I've ever seen an entire series or two, and I knew this was going to be the case when the Titans really got down. It was going to be all Tajay. And in that moment right there, all Tajay means that we got to pass the ball or we got to do some stuff outside the box.
615-737-1045, our number. Eric is in Nashville up next with us this morning. Hey, Eric.
Hey, guys. Josh kind of hit a little bit of what I was going to talk about, and I'm going to get to defense in a minute, guys. But let me say this. I did not have a problem when they went for it on third down right before the half. But it's like, pocket collapse. It's like, what are you going to do if Tannehill doesn't have a chance to throw the ball away so they can have a shot at the field goal? I mean, it just was bad. I mean, week one, they gave up 3 sacks. Last week, they gave up 5. Yesterday, again, they had 5. I mean, I was not one of these people claiming for another quarterback. He didn't have a chance yesterday with the offensive line issues. It was just pathetic. And also, guys, I'll say this. I also thought Tannehill should have came out of the game when that last touchdown made it 27-3. I didn't think he needed to go back out there. But luckily, he didn't get killed out there. I was just afraid he'd come back out there with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Something was going to happen to him, but luckily it didn't. But defensively, guys, I mean, what can you say? The first touchdown where the guy was wide open in the corner, the defender was just looking at him and wasn't looking at the ball, just let him go past him. And then that last touchdown, Amari Cooper just races past 2 defenders. It's like, what was that? It was just like, at times give a play. Penalties, it seemed like it's just, at times, it's just a lack of effort. It's just, and you don't know what to say. It's just the whole game plan. It just left me speechless just seeing the effort out there. And just, guys, it's got to get better or we're going to be in some serious trouble. Guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate the call. Problem is, you can't block for the run. That's a new low for this offensive line because even when they can't protect Tannehill, they've been able to pave some lanes in the run game. They can't even do that right now.
They couldn't.
That was rough. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what we've always talked about with this team. If anything, they're good in run protection, right?
Yeah.
Even though we haven't been saying run left this year, it's been okay. And it wasn't okay. It was not even close on Sunday.
615-737-1045. We'll get to that coming up next on the amount of runs where Derrick Henry faced a stacked box in his yards before contact per carry, which was a pretty stunning stat that you'll want to hear coming up next.
40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind.
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
To sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40 years of Two Rivers Ford.
Watson looks to his right, fires quickly that way, got it complete to Moore, and Moore is hit, lost the ball. The Titans have picked it up, and falling on it inside the 20 is Murphy Bunting. Bunting has made the play.
RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on a Monday morning edition. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. And coming up in hour number 2, we'll hear from Mike Vrabel, who post-game spoke about getting behind the chains. And there is one stat from Warren Sharp and some analytics on the Titans on third downs that will not be very kind to their offense. We'll get to that coming up in 15 minutes. But, guys, we mentioned it before the break. Derrick Henry faced a stacked box, which means 8+ defenders, on 6 of 11 rushing attempts on Sunday. Derrick Henry averaged minus 2.3 yards before contact per carry on such attempts. That is his lowest in a game since week 2 of last year. That was the blowout loss in Buffalo. His 20 yards on 11 carries were the second lowest rushing total of his career. His lowest came against the Browns in week 7 as well a year ago. So the Titans, minus 2.3 yards before contact per carry. That is essentially what happened to them. That means he is getting hit negative 2.3 yards in the backfield every time he's carrying the ball against an 8-man box.
A yard is how long? 3 feet?
3 feet, that's right.
That's 6 feet in the backfield, y'all.
Dang.
Think about that. We want to say yards as if it's like a foot. No, a yard is a little bit more than a foot. There's 3 feet per yard. So there are 6 feet in the backfield before he actually gets some momentum to move forward. That is embarrassing right there. Like, think about that for a second, Kayla. That's from me to you, essentially, right now, in a sense. In this studio, you're getting hit 6 feet in the backfield before you actually get an opportunity to do something. That's a hard day to work right there. That is a hard day. Well, and you said all of those things, man, without even bringing this up just yet. You end the day as a team, man, with 94 total offensive yards.
At a point in the fourth, they had 78 total yards and 75 yards in penalties.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that?
We're sitting on the bus yesterday looking at the stat sheet and stuff, and I got to give credit where it's from. It was what my research, but Rhett brought it up to me. They ran 45 offensive plays as a team. 10 of your 45 offensive plays were negative yards. So you had 35 positive plays as a team yesterday. Meanwhile, and just looking at the overall offensive efficiency, Cleveland averaged 5.1 yards a play. The Titans had averaged 2.1, a 3-yard difference right there. And it showed all the way across the field, up and down the field, just being honest with you.
615-737-1045. Yeah, 20 yards and 11 carries. Second lowest rushing total of his career. I got or NFL.com got the notes mixed up on this. Obviously, that wasn't against the Browns last year, so they didn't play the Browns last year. But among his lowest in his career. And lowest since that Bills loss in Buffalo in primetime last fall. 615-737-1045 is our number. Kenny the Mailman is up next as we continue to take your calls. What's up, Kenny?
Hello, good friends. How are y'all?
Good. Good morning.
Great. Nashville needs a chance to smile this morning. Do y'all agree?
Yes.
I'd say so.
Yes.
Well, I hate that he called before me, but did you notice Eric forgot to mention tomorrow's his birthday?
Hey,
Nice.
happy birthday.
Happy
You didn't
birthday.
mention that.
he's so superstitious. He'll never tell anybody his age. Have you ever met some people like that?
I have.
But I do know he went to high school with Bart Durham.
Okay,
Oh.
then.
Legend.
Yeah.
Bart wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and I, we go way back with Eric. He was our vacation Bible school teacher in church. So
Nice.
But we love him to death. I wish everybody had at least one good friend as old Eric. But tomorrow, let him know. Y'all know he needs to charge up his wheelchair.
Perfect.
Hey, y'all take it easy.
Look at Kenny
Thank you,
talking
Kenny.
trash.
Kenny choosing a different kind of violence this morning that I did not really expect.
That was incredible.
Kenny came in with a side topic to get you to laugh. That was a nice little punchline.
Kenny came in with the delivery.
A lot of people are gonna think Ryan Tannehill needs one if he keeps getting hit like this.
Goodness.
615-737-1045. Braden is in Shelbyville. Up next with us this morning. What's up, Braden?
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good morning.
So I've got something I've been seeing on my social media that I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm sure some people will feel this way. A lot of folks are saying, fire the staff, fire Vrabel. My thing is, I like Vrabel. I think he's a player's coach, and I like the way he views the game. But Vrabel's in a situation where I feel like the organization sent him to war with a gun, but ain't gave him no bullets. So if they have a year this year where they go, below 500 or just get 500, don't make the playoffs, what do y'all think his job security is going forward with another season that's subpar? Even though, from my standpoint, I feel like it's lose-lose for him. You can only do so much of what you got. But appreciate y'all taking the call. Listen to it every morning. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Braden.
Definitely.
It's an interesting question because I'm seeing more Vrabel hot seat comments this week than I probably ever have with this team. And we just got another one on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will where M. Yep says, I'm tired the shoulda, woulda, coulda excuses. I think we're seeing the beginning of the end of Vrabel in Tennessee.
It can be gradual in a sense, and a lot of things are going to have to be evaluated. One is the penalties. 8 for 80 yesterday on the day. Offensive efficiency and hiring process is going to be questioned moving forward, too. Player development is always going to be huge, too. And I've always kind of said this. I don't know what Rand and Vrabel's relationship is. I know they are, together in the, in this car together as far as trying to win games and whatnot. But you look at this and you say, you have consecutive years of not having the offensive line together. The defense has its moments of good and bad where the secondary's got to find its footing, right? You look at the production of what you have offensively and how it's gone about, the decisions at quarterback that have to be made too. And when I mention Rand and Vrabel, it's this, and I think we kind of said this maybe off air and to each other or just in general. When you hire a new GM, it's the same way you hire a new athletic director. Eventually, at some point, those people like to get their guys in, unless you're just a winner. Mm-hmm. If you turn it over and you do your thing as a coach and you win the big games and you have a lot of development of players and stuff like that, everything is fine. The moment that doesn't start to happen, there's no attachment to you. And I don't want to make it seem like that's the case, but when you lose, y'all know this, everything is evaluated. And if that means you're a coach of the year, other coaches of the year have been fired too. Doug Peterson got let go, did he not? Yes. Sean Payton, I feel like, is another coach of the year candidate. Has gotten let go too.
He just kind of left New Orleans.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
I'll take a different take on it because I get that people are mad, and I think they're looking for anything to kind of, ease the pain right now. And I get the frustration. It is still early in the season, but you're seeing the same mistakes being made, right? They hired Chris Harris as the secondary kind of DB guy, and it doesn't look like the big X plays that we've talked about endlessly have improved, right? So there's just another example of, okay, is that going to work out, right? Because we heard raving reviews about Chris. But I think Vrabel for now is safe because Rand is new. They do work well together. Rand has gone on record saying, I'm here to get the guys Vrabel wants. Vrabel has a leash here. Does every game they lose, it gets a little shorter? Sure. But right now, he's not going to be getting fired after this season. I'll tell you that much.
No chance. Amy Adams Strunk sent a message last season by firing John Robinson that the Titans' issues were personnel related and not coaching related. There's two different ways you can go with that. One, the fact that Mike Vrabel has a mulligan year because you can't give him all the players that he needs in just one offseason. I think that's the truth.
That's very
I think there's nothing that could happen this year that would cause Mike Vrabel to lose his job outside of something ridiculous or some kind of wild variable we don't know. So let's just get that out of the way. That I think Vrabel has complete and utter safety this season. But that being said, the devil's advocate to that is we probably thought John Robinson did last year too. So Amy Adams-Strunk has also given us the precedent that she's going to make a hard decision when you don't expect her to. That being said, I would be utterly and completely shocked.
That's fair.
If Mike Vrabel is not the head coach next season and probably the year after that too. I think he is 100% completely safe. The seat warmer isn't even on in the car to warm up his seat yet. That it is not even a conversation yet. Things change in this league, but we're not close to that at this point. 615-737-1045. More of your phone calls as we start hour 2 coming up next.
Hey, it's Kayla for the Ingram Agency, local agency that was founded from the ground up in 2010. Chris Ingram, along with his team of fully licensed professionals, have really created a strong agency. They focus on serving the entire state of Tennessee. If you need insurance, this is the company to work with because they're more than just a company, right? They specialize in such a wide array of products, including everything from auto, home, life, commercial, even aviation. And this is not your average insurance company. I can tell you that because they have done enough even to help us get to London. They'll help you get insurance and take care of you as the customer. The Ingram Agency, founded on passion for education and support. Their goal has always been to guide and protect clients comprehensively. So if you want a family-owned insurance company that is actually going to work for you, who cares about the customer, call the Ingram Agency, 615-206-8276. You can log online also to theingramagency.com. Rest easy with the Ingram Agency.
What's going on? 7:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans fell to the Browns 27-3 on a day neither the offense nor the defense could gain any momentum. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans offense were held to 94 total yards. They averaged 1.7 yards a carry, and their longest play from scrimmage was a 31-yard pass to Chris Moore. Titans fall to 1-2 and look to rebound against the Cincinnati Bengals, who face the Rams tonight at 7:15 right here on 104.5 The Zone. Elsewhere in the AFC South, the Texans humbled the Jags 37-17 in a game that the 2022 AFC South champions never led. They went into the half down 17, and the Texans scored the most points they have ever scored in Jacksonville. And this.
The ball is bobbled, and it's picked up by the fullback, and he's got running room. Andrew Beck, after Boone couldn't handle it, it's still going. Beck, he's going to go all the way in. Did we just see what we just saw?
You just saw what we just seen. Probably the biggest story yesterday in sports. Travis Kelce absolutely crushed it in front of new boo Taylor Swift, hauling in 7 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Taylor was seen screaming obscenities next to Kelce's mother, so you can only imagine that things are going well. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
$7 a.m. in Nashville on a Monday morning edition of RKW. We welcome you into a Reaction Monday where we sit on the couch and collectively take deep breaths or short, quick ones as you call in with us. 615-737-1045 is our number. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. In the F&M Bank chat, you can conversate with other frustrated Titans fans this morning. In the F&M Bank chat on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch. There, the line is non-existent. Just get your comment in and get about your morning.
Get about your morning, baby. We understand where you're going through this morning. Tough one, man. Tough one on the road against a team that you were looking for blood in the water with, man. Against a quarterback that's done this to you before.
Yeah. And I just think, Titans fans expected at least a battle, right?
Yeah.
I think going up there, they knew what they were going up against in terms of a stout defense. But look, the Titans have had a great defense too. They've played physical. That's what they're expected to do under a Mike Vrabel team. I just don't think they looked physical either in this game. Anything about them.
What was most fascinating to me in this game, though, and I was kind of saying it during the game, watching Cleveland's offensive line, they respect the heck out of what the Titans' defensive line is. They set them at the line of scrimmage. Some teams, some offensive linemen set back a little bit. Every single one of their guys, from DeJuan Jones all the way over to Jedrick Wills, set the Titans' defensive line at the line of scrimmage. They stopped their charge. Yeah, and had a day. Had a real good day yesterday, man. Moved bodies and also used his size. That dude's arms and body. Like, if you're a big human being like that, you have to know how to utilize your size, man. And he used it well yesterday. And every single one of them, man, they stopped the defensive line charge before they got started. They kept the pocket as clean as they possibly could. If you were going to send blitz towards Deshaun Watson, well, guess what he was going to do on the back end of that, too? He was eating you up in the secondary because they didn't hold it down either. Yesterday was probably one of the worst days I think the secondary has had, either from miscommunication or whether it be a linebacker Z's out in coverage like that or just not closing out plays whenever Deshaun was scrambling down the field or with his eyes down the field.
615-737-1045, our number. We mentioned it before the break that the stats on getting behind the chains and the average to-go distance on third downs for the Titans yesterday. Take a wild guess. Their average yardage they had to get to on third downs in this game. Average distance on third downs.
I know the stat because I retweeted it.
I don't know that one. Let's go 8 yards.
8.9.
8.9.
Yep.
9 yards.
The Titans had the fourth worst average to go distance on third downs this week, only in front of the Commanders, Falcons, and Jets.
Yep.
Not company you wanted to be in yesterday based on the way those teams played. Let's go back to the phones where Dustin is in Laverne up next. 615-737-1045. Hey, Dustin.
It's one of those things where you're not really mad, you're just disappointed, parent style, But I did want to touch on two things just real quick that have been kind of important in my eyes. The Titans obviously need to play better football, but if you're already not going to be blocking well, I'm a big Josh Wiley fan. I think they need to get him in the game. I think he could be a game changer, especially on, 3rd and 7 and stuff like that. And then also, why don't we do like a lot of other teams do, where you have that security blanket of the running back swing pass? I see teams do this so much, and it works. I just don't know why we aren't going to try to, slow the defense down with something like that. And the last thing, with the penalties, I know that, the refs are going to do what they do, but I feel like the Titans are just so different than every other team. I see them swallow their whistles so much for these other teams, and they're quick to throw stuff on us. But, like the fumble in week 1, I don't even know how you could question it was a fumble. They already called one like that against us several times, but the officiating just hasn't been helping too much either. Do you think that's just something where we keep getting the same officials, or do they have something going on for the small market teams, or what? So,
thanks, Dustin. On the officials thing, they're not getting the same officials, and I don't think the Titans are getting mistreated as opposed to any other team. Refs across the league had a bad day yesterday. To the swing pass comment, though, they did try that. Tajay Spears had 4 catches, and they went for a total of 3 yards. Mm-hmm. When they tried a screen/swing pass to Chigakonkwo, batted down at the line. Yeah. Another one for Chig was dropped. That was just a crosser over the middle of the field. He only had 3 catches for 7. I actually thought their only positive moments in the passing game were just vertical routes to Chris Moore and DeAndre Hopkins, which they didn't have time to protect and do. So, And to the Josh Wiley point, I haven't seen enough from Josh Wiley to say that he should be earning any more playing time. Personally.
Yeah, right. Honestly, he was getting through some stuff just in camp in general. So I don't think you'll see a ton of him yet.
I honestly don't want to see the tight end as much right now, based on the fact that they gave up a lot yesterday. You talk about the swing passes. Yeah, Chig had a few, one to the flat that got blew up real bad. All in all, it's not much production as it stands right now.
Mike Vrabel spoke about getting behind the chains and that average to go distance on third downs. And it seems like when you talk to Mike Vrabel post-game about the problems that are plaguing this offense, getting behind the chains is always his number one answer.
Just weren't able to get into the drive. We pressure us, and a lot of guys were on the line of scrimmage, and felt like we wanted to try to get into the line of scrimmage and get downhill. Wanted to try to protect and throw some shots, but you got to be able to hold up, and just weren't able to get any kind of rhythm, especially in a road environment, a fantastic environment, much like we talked about in New Orleans. Too many third and long opportunities, and then when we did have a drive and got down there, didn't take advantage of when we got the turnover, weren't able to take advantage of the turnover, and then when we got the end of half, where we could have done something and got the ball in the second half, it just it's frustrating all the way around, but we'll come back.
And this was a new kind of iteration, guys, of the Titans offense, because typically when they lose like this, they've turned it over 2 or 3 times. They've lost the turnover battle. They're giving the other team short fields. Wasn't the case this time. They just weren't good.
Well, this is what frustrates me about maybe some of the comments he made in that particular setting at that point. And I know Vrabel's always better on Mondays too, because he's looked at the film. He kind of breaks down a little more. But one thing that stood out to me here is, look, what types of environments you're going to on the road, right?
Yep.
You know ahead of time. Most of them have been there. They know the dog pound. They know what the Saints is going to be like, unless they've not played there before. But you have an idea of what to expect. And they have been slow out of the gate. Like 2 straight 3-and-outs. And he talks about not getting in a rhythm. Well, yeah, it's kind of an issue if you know you're going on the road, you know what you're up against, and you continue to kind of get a slow start.
Yeah.
And that's really been at home, too, where they've had slow starts.
It's very true. Absolutely. We'll get to more phone calls coming up next. 615-737-1045. And assess maybe the biggest issue for the Titans yesterday from the former NFL offensive lineman in the room. Just how bad was Andre Dillard? And how much of this was Peter Skoronski not being available? The issues for the Titans offensive line yesterday. Plus, what Dillard had to say about advice he was given by Myles Garrett postgame. Yes, I'm not making that up. Coming up next. Hey, what's up? It's Will Bowling. Looking to keep your home in great shape year-round? Of course you are. Well, you need to sign up with a Lee Company home maintenance plan for $12 a month. And this is one of the great offers that you're going to get from the good folks at Lee Company. Plan members receive 4 service visits a year from the Lee Company team of experts. You're going to get a heating system tune-up, an air conditioning tune-up, an electrical inspection, and a detailed plumbing inspection, too. That is help for all 4 seasons. That's 4 annual visits for just $12 a month. For the very best in-home service, you need to call Lee Company. Do it today at 615-567-1000 or visit them online at leecompany.com. Search Home Maintenance Plan to join their membership. You get the 24/7, 365 help of Lee Company at your fingertips. Just $12 a month. That's 4 annual visits. They're going to take care of you at leecompany.com. Again, the number, 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company. All you need. And how much?
Play fake. Watson looking to go deep. Hit. Sacked! McCrary blitzing in to get him.
That was one highlight yesterday in a 27-3 loss for the Titans to the Cleveland Browns. It's RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045, our number. We'll get to what Andre Dillard had to say after a rough performance for the Titans offense coming up here in just a minute. And Ramon's breakdown from field level on just how big of a problem he was on his own as we dissect the biggest issues with this loss to Cleveland. But first, we go back to the phones where Alvin is in Nashville. First up, hey, Alvin.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good, Alvin.
Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Good.
The first thing I want to start off, and Ramon Foster, I heard you last time. I'm going to blow my horn before I hang up. But the first thing I want to start off with is everybody, just relax, okay? We understand, hey, look at the Cleveland Browns over the years. Look at all the first-round draft picks they got. It's supposed to happen like this. Now, we can't say, hey, we had first-round picks too. That's fair. You know, we had the Isaiah Wilson. We had the Caleb Farleys. You know, I think our biggest problem is that we always get these players that we try to sit back and develop, or we get these used players. Like, we basically get used cars. We get used cars, and we try to try them out, and it just don't work. Let's be honest, it don't work. And I love Vrabel as a coach, but it's getting to the point where I think he's so, I guess, I don't know how to put the words together, but it's as if he's just so, I ain't going to say arrogant, but he gets beside himself where it's like it's his way or no way. You know, you cannot beat a team going there with the left tackle that, trust and believe, the Eagles had the money to keep Andre Dillard. If they felt like he was a good enough backup, they would have kept him right along. You can't keep doing this, man. You can't keep doing this. Look at Deshaun Watson in their pocket. He trusts his offensive line. It starts with the offensive line and the defensive line. He just sitting back like, hey, I trust my offensive line. He didn't have a worry in the world. But if you look at Ryan Tannehill in the pocket, he was worried. I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Alvin. And Alvin, I did want to bring up this, and every point you made was very valid. But Watson was having issues with his line the first two games of the season. Let me just remind you of that. Yes, it was good yesterday, but he was struggling the first two games.
Yeah, 9 sacks in the first 2 games is what they gave up.
Alvin does make a good point that can you afford to not buy a premium new vehicle at left tackle? Can you afford a used car price at left tackle and be good in this league with the personnel the Titans have?
I think can you afford to? I think you always make room to if you're in that market for it.
Well, the question is, can you be a great team with a middle-of-the-road, at best, left tackle? And Andre Dillard is far from middle of the road right now. I think a lot of people wishes he was middle of the road.
That's hard to do. You either need to be able to have a guy like that or have a dynamic quarterback to get out of situations sometimes.
Right.
And to that point, look at the Dolphins. Their offensive line is not stellar. I'd say middle of the road.
Yep.
And they kind of scheme around that. Look what they did against the Broncos. They get the ball out quickly. They have playmakers who can make stuff in space, so kind of alleviates the concern to push the play down the field unnecessarily. But it has to be a special situation for the offense, right?
Sure.
Yes, it
Great
does.
point.
And that's the problem the Titans run into now is that they would have to go through completely schematical, total makeover on offense to win with the personnel it has on the offensive line right now. So then the question becomes, do you change the personnel? And we'll get to that coming up. But wanted to hear first of what Andre Dillard had to say post-game in the locker room. I don't love the self-awareness, bringing up the fact that Myles Garrett is giving you pointers after this loss and the way you played specifically. This was Andre Dillard talking with Buck Rising post-game, who got this audio, put it on Twitter.
Yeah, it's never an easy thing. You know, you got a lot of good players around the league, and you know this team has So had some really good guys on there. But, you know, third and long, they're going to be coming and bringing the pressures. And, you know, we just got to do better as a unit. I got to do better as an individual and to, you know, sit down those pressures and those defenders.
Obviously, Myles Garrett, one of the better players in the league. What was happening there as far as your matchups with him?
I think I just need to do better with my hands and you know, my sets and all that stuff. I talked to him after the game, and he told me his inputs. You know, because I'm just trying to get better, and so he kind of told me what he saw, what he liked about my game, and you know what I could have done differently. So.
Do you appreciate that kind of constructive criticism?
I definitely do. Yeah, especially you know from a player as good as him. You know, and it's cool to see it from his perspective.
For you, after a performance like that, like how do you process it, how you work through it, and then spin it forward to the next game?
You know, when you go through stuff like that, you know, all you can do is just keep playing the next play and don't let your head hang, because then you'll just spiral and it'll get out of control. But you know, what you do from that is you just learn from it. You know, you watch the film, you study it, you know, take the constructive criticism, and you just move forward, and that's all you can do.
So that was Buck Rising and Teron Davenport. Credit to Teron as well for being in that conversation with Andre Dillard post-game yesterday, and Buck tweeting that out at Buck Rising on Twitter. What's y'all's reaction when you hear that?
Well, when he said specifically, and I'll ask you this, Ramon, getting critiques from a guy like Myles Garrett, I know that probably happens off the field sometimes with players. And he seemed to not be, you know, hesitant on sharing that information. Then Buck followed up with it, obviously, and he, you know, gave him an answer. So that's a different situation. I wanted to ask you about when he said things that he was told, what could you work on? Better with my hands, getting set. Isn't that something we talked about earlier on this season, getting set and the way that he kind of operates as a left tackle specifically, and that's something that he needed to probably work on. It doesn't seem like that's happened. That's why I wanted to ask you about that, because that stood out to me.
That is 100% fact. Him getting set is when he was signed here. I told you, looked at the tape and said he oozes to a stop is what happens with him. It's held true. I figured there'll be something that he'd correct and try to fix down the line, and it has yet to, you know, correct itself, either in practice, in camp, or preseason and regular season. Now it's yet to stop happening. I'll say this too. In a small defense of him, guys do talk after the game about, hey, man, that move was cool. That move was this or that. But I'll say this too. You learn and know all this stuff on film. Mm-hmm. I almost felt like Myles Garrett sunned him in a sense. It's like, hey, man, this is how I beat you, and this is what you need to do to get better. I will say this. I've had conversation with other guys about some stuff that I've done or how they rush and stuff like that. That never hits the media, ever. Because as a pro, you always watch the film. You know what your deficiencies are. I don't need you to tell me what I did wrong. And it was, I get it. It was admirable, but it was embarrassing to actually put that out there. You're not going to whoop my behind and tell me how you beat my behind, too. My tape is going to tell me that when I review that tape right there. That was, to me, it was kind of bad to put that out there as a pro, is what I would say. I would never tell the media, hey, somebody told me how they kicked my ass today, y'all, and I'm going to go back and watch it and try to get better from it. Now, a lot of people are saying, yeah, it's a stand-up thing to do. No, it's not really, because as a pro, the tape never lies. The tape never defies you. The tape is always going to be truthful. The tape will forever tell yourself. Y'all know I always tell anybody that I work with as far as sports, work on your deficiencies, because that's how you're going to last in this league. Everybody know your strength. Everybody know Myles Garrett can bend. Everybody know Myles Garrett can run. He's strong as an ox. But I tell you this, you minimize your weaknesses. Therefore, nobody can ever attack them. Andre Dillard's weakness is what, y'all, in the room together? He doesn't stop on bull rushes at all. So what would I do? I would work on that. And it was going to suck in the beginning as a pro. But guess what you do? I got to work on this in camp. I got to work on this in practice. I got to work on this in live sessions when we have against the Minnesota Vikings. And if we hadn't corrected those things, then what the heck are we doing? That was an embarrassing response. Is it something courageous to say to people in the masses? Yes, we all know that, though. There's no reason for you to tell us that Myles Garrett gave you tips on what you got going on. And I look at that situation, and now I feel like he's going to be in a position of just chasing, forever chasing. because everything that he said that Myles Garrett told him, there's going to be somebody on the Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson. Hey, Myles, what did you tell him, man? I'm texting Myles Garrett like, Myles, what you do against him? I'm going to watch the tape first and foremost, and then, Myles, what did you do against him? Oh, man, he probably ain't going to ever stop on the bull rush. And the moment he does is probably when they're going to pull and rip him to get to the quarterback again. You work on your deficiencies so that people can't expose those, because those are the reasons you get fired.
Can I put one more thing out here? The Tape Farm, because I do want to give the other side of this, and this is somebody in the chat. The Tape Farm on the F&M Bank chat said, Dillard's comments were mature and accountable. If the media attacks him for something that players talk about all the time, then you all are ever going to get from these players is those cliche answers. So that, what response?
Absolutely not. Again, nobody has to tell you got your ass kicked. Everybody knows that.
And we saw it.
Don't tell me about you. Myles sunned him. He became dad yesterday. He became his mentor. He became papa, head of the household. He get the biggest piece of chicken in the restaurant now. That's what happened in those situations. You can say what you want to about those types of comments, mature and accountable. No, your job is to do it. You don't absolutely get a pass because you told somebody we got smacked around today. That's not how this works, especially now. It'd be fine if this was a one-off. Y'all would accept that, would you not, man, Myles? I went up against a good opponent today. He got me.
Sure.
That's if you had a few wins in front of you. It ain't been many wins that Dillard has kind of had. So you can't announce that to the world when the world already knows that.
Regardless of how mature it is, it's insecure to put that out there and say, hey, this guy that just beat me at what I do the entire week is telling me how I can get better. That comes from a massive place of insecurity, a massive place, and wanting the approval. And it's almost like he wants a little bit of grace from the fan base. That's the way it comes across to me. Like, well, he did tell me, and I always want to get better. Yeah, you should. We just watched you get beat for an entire game.
And the game before that and before that, too.
It's mature if you're giving us new information that comes from a position of strength. This was neither. This was not new information. We saw exactly what happened. You got beat. Your hands aren't quick enough. You're getting beat on bull rushes. And, heck, the end of the first half. And I'll give Dillard this, guys. Leaving Andre Dillard one-on-one, I tweeted it yesterday. Leaving Andre Dillard one-on-one with 13 seconds left in the second quarter in a situation where you absolutely cannot take a sack, that is not a Andre Dillard problem. That's a Tim Kelly and Mike Vrabel problem. You cannot leave him one-on-one in a position where clockwise, you cannot take a sack.
But you said no. You said no. I asked you this question in the break.
You
said
you can't allow that. You got to get your skilled players out. I know where you're coming from on that, and you understand the risk. But the risk is we pay you to block this man, and at some point you have to hold up. And I think that's why you send them out. If we're a tight red zone, we're trying to score before the half. Not saying you're wrong. This is your opinion on it. Mine is you got to send everybody out. That's an empty protection. Help ain't on the way.
I don't care. Because then
help ain't
because
on the way.
Goal, Ramon, if the goal is to get 7, then you're right. Titans just needed 3 points. They just needed something. Mike Vrabel did explain post-game why Andre Dillard was left one-on-one on that. This is what he had to say after the game about that first half scenario there.
Yeah, I mean, we consider doubling them a lot. You're trying to score from the 12-yard line. It's hard if you don't get guys out down there in the red zone because of the space. So that's a product of trying to score and hope that the protection hangs up. You keep guys in, and then now you're running a lot of bodies out there in coverage. So we like the call, just need to execute it better, and which I'm sure we will.
Not good enough for me, guys. I'm sorry. It's not. Talk about executing it better. It's not going to be executed. You know that you got no shot with Andre Dillard one-on-one against Myles Garrett. When you put an 8-year-old at the steering wheel of the car and your 8-year-old crashes the car, it's not the 8-year-old's fault. It's the person who said, drive, kid.
I push back on that one. And I know I love the route you're going where you're supposed to protect your weaknesses, but in certain situations you're not allowed to protect your weaknesses. Those 5-on-5 blocks mean a lot. Winning man to a man means a lot. If it's that, I think you said, well, that ball he got to him in 2.5 seconds. That ain't an offensive that isn't an offensive scheme problem. That's a man-to-a-man problem right there when it boils down to you not holding up. That right there was That was a bad play, and I feel like everybody in the building was watching that one. I was too. Just like, oh, well, we'll see if he holds up on third down. There's no timeouts left. That was a bad day at the office. And, again, you can say those types of things, but Myles Garrett, to me, slapped him in the face with how he went about explaining to him what I did to you. Now, those conversations happen.
I don't know if he thought he was going to go and say that, though.
No, it ain't on Myles. It ain't on Myles Garrett.
I mean,
he didn't do anything wrong yesterday.
No. Y'all, I'm telling you, and I don't want to make it seem like I was king of the hill when I played, but there's a certain mentality you have to have about being a pro, about having a sense of pride. And this is why I always kind of explain to kids, this is why I always kind of explain to young pros, if there's ever an opportunity, y'all have heard me say this, of me versus you, I'm going to step on your neck every single time. Mm-hmm. And that starts mentally. That starts right before the play happens. Because if you ever give anybody any signs of hope against you, they'll do these things. And then after the game, they'll come up to you and say, hey, man, this is how I beat you. Y'all tell me if that's respect or not. Like, legitimately sit back to yourself and tell me if that's respect or not. That's like, we heard those, like, a-hole stories that Michael Jordan have, right? Or Kobe Bryant have. To where there's, man, I don't care if you was a first rounder. I'm going to dog you out every single time. Because if I got an opportunity to dog you and belittle you in the spirit of competition, I'm going to do it. And then afterwards, we can be cool.
Sure.
But it's the fact that I own you now.
He's opened himself up to, you think, Sam Hubbard in the first quarter on Sunday is not saying, hey, what'd Myles tell you?
Yes.
I disagree. I think you should actually do this.
Yes.
You've opened yourself up to, Ramon, if you heard that, say you were talking to a defensive guy who did nothing against you all week, said, hey, this is what I think you should do. You know that the next week, one of your buddies on offensive line, you're telling him exactly what you said.
Yep.
Saying, hey, this is what I told him. Here, look, y'all want to beat this guy?
Yep.
This is what I told him to do. So you should tell him the opposite when you get in the field of play.
Yep.
When you start the game.
Okay, so we can say all these conversations, but he's going to be the left tackle on Sunday. So,
I don't know about that.
At this point,
I think he could very well still be the left tackle on Sunday. So if that's the case, what do you do? What do you say to him this week? What does he have to do to be mentally right to be ready for this game and not have the same performance as he just did that is obviously taking, an hour of the show to discuss, and rightfully so.
What I would tell him is dig your feet in and start the run game a little bit better. And everybody knew it. Whenever it comes down times for you to drop back, Ryan Tannehill to drop back this offense to throw the ball down the field, there's a liability there. You better run the ball and do it well. That way they can't guess that it's a running play. That way they don't understand, like you have them on tilt when it comes down to what are they going to do offensively. There wasn't much play action in this game because of why, y'all? You didn't establish
a run. They couldn't get the run going. Yeah.
And I'm looking at this defense at the line of scrimmage on Sunday, and they are digging in, screaming off the edge. You tell him this week, hey, you need to establish a run game because that's the only way we're going to get the passing game going.
And you're hoping Peter's in too.
I'm hoping Peter Skoronski's in. At this point, you have to start having a conversation. If Peter's healthy, do you start putting him at left?
Right.
And we'll have that conversation quite a bit this week because I want to ask you the question coming up later in the show, which is the best fit to go to left tackle? Because Dylan Radins has played there in a pinch too. And Jalen Duncan is on the team. Hasn't played much, but he's on the team. And soon NPF will be too. I think that's going to be certainly a big conversation this week and moving forward if the play at left tackle continues. 615-737-1045. Rapid fire on the phones when we come back. We'll start with Jeff in Nashville on the other side. We'll get to everybody on hold right now. Just hang on with us, and we take your reaction all day and all morning long right here on RKW.
This is your Off the Track Racing Report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
Byron rallies late for round of 8. William Byron took the lead on a restart with 6 laps remaining and went on to win Sunday's Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 at Texas Motor Speedway. For Byron, it is his 6th victory of the season. It also automatically qualifies him for the round of 8 in the playoff chase. Also a historic win for Hendrick Motorsports, too. It is the 300th career victory for Hendrick, the most in Cup Series history for one team. Those 6 laps following the restart were the only ones Byron led all day. He passed Bubba Wallace, who led a race-high 111 laps. For a long time, it appeared either Wallace or Kyle Larson would get the victory. Larson had been out front for 34 laps and was racing alongside Wallace when his car got loose with 19 laps remaining and smashed into the outside wall. Up next, race 2 of the round of 16 with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. The Sunday's race set for a 1 o'clock start on NBC.
This has been your Off the Track Racing Report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
I'm Liz Allison. For years, you've heard me talking about State Water Heaters and how they are a leader in the industry, providing the most durable residential and commercial grade water heaters. I have a State Water Heater in my home, and you should too. State Water Heaters are professional grade, sold to professionals in your home or business. And you can get one installed in your home or business just by going to statewaterheaters.com, click on the Find a Local Installer link, and you'll get your water heater in your home just like me. State Water Heaters for the professionals and you.
Tannehill drops, looks, throws deep right side, and the pass is caught. Moore, what a catch! He took it off the back of the defender and is ruled down at the 9-yard line. Timeout, Tennessee.
Monday morning on RKW, it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045 as we take your reaction. And we go to the phones where Jeff is in Nashville up next with us. Hey, Jeff.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Morning.
All right. I'm going to take a different take on some of these people because y'all acting like the season's over. There's 17 games, man. So y'all gotta, I know we got a pretty bad team at the moment right now. It's not looking good, but we haven't lost any of our division games. We still in this. So. Also, I want to steal one of Caleb's words. We Shiano'd the bed, man. We just Shiano'd the bed, and it could have been worse. We didn't end up like the Broncos, and the Cardinals ended up beating the Cowboys. So just lighten up a little bit, Titans fans. Let's go. We got this.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's okay for positivity. And Jeff, that is actually Don Davenport's slogan.
Babsies.
I know we're both blondes, but I am in the
Gotta
mornings.
get credit where credit due. Yeah.
Mike in Cleveland is next, 615-737-1045. This should be good as always. What's up, Mike?
Man, Jeff, cut it out. Cut that out. They didn't get my memo, huh?
Nope.
Didn't nobody tell them? Don't come up here and embarrass me. That's what they did. I got everybody cracking jokes. I got my pastor cracking jokes, man. You're supposed to be a man of God. What you doing? No. Let me stop. But, Jeff, I got an answer for you. While we all so down on the Titans and this loss. This ain't nothing new, baby. This is recurring from past years. Our offense looks horrible. I mean, it's kind of hard to be positive when we keep having the same problems and then we constantly keep thinking that we're going to put a Band-Aid on the gas. The Band-Aid, a.k.a. DeAndre Hopkins, that ain't where the problem is, like we all thought. The problem ain't with the wide receivers and that offensive. I mean, we see the problem. And the truth of the matter is Titans is a bad team right now. And maybe they just need to, ride this out, and so that we can really, truly rebuild and stop putting these Band-Aids on gashes. Because, that's just how I look at it. Y'all know I came into the season saying I wasn't expecting a whole lot from them, and I still ain't, especially after that performance. So let's just, make sure that we real Titans fans support the squad, and, yeah, man, we got more games that's gonna look horrible, real talk. But yeah, man, Tannehill, he did the flip-flop thing, and hopefully he do the flip-flop thing, and we be right back up on the roller coaster next game, I guess. 8-8, that's our hopes. Deuces.
Thank you, Mike.
I'll tell you one thing, cousin Mike, you are in Cleveland, and they could have had a good game against the Titans. That's fine and dandy, but guess what? They're the Browns.
They are,
and they're gonna
Brown.
poop the bed like they usually do. So at least you'll have that, Mike. I'm sure that they'll be your pastor will talk to you again. You can probably talk some crap to him.
Mike said you need to find God. Is what Mike said.
He did.
And then he said, "Let me back this truck up real quick."
Which they were doing.
We didn't get the horn, but we got the beeping and backing up.
Bag up.
Bag up, Terry.
With reverse.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
What you doing?
Back
Greatest video ever.
Terry was on a parade this
Back up,
past 4th
Terry.
of July, too. He was a grand marshal.
There you go.
Speaking of parades and finding a little optimism in everybody else's terror, I saw a great tweet this weekend that said the Bears could ruin a one-float parade. The Titans could do 2 floats, right? They could make 2
At
work.
least 2 floats.
At least 2.
Minimum 3.
It's a lot of homecomings around Middle Tennessee right now. They got 2 floats is what we're doing.
That is the thing, and
yeah.
I'm not going to do the optimistic just so we can be optimistic thing because you don't want to hear optimism today, and that's fine. I don't either. But there are fan bases going through it a heck of a lot worse than Titans fans are right now. Vegas, Josh McDaniels is your coach there.
Brandon Staley almost
Denver
ruined it again.
Brandon Staley. I mean, Minnesota's 0-3. Yeah, they're done. Their season's over. I mean, there are a lot of really average teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
I would put the Titans in a group of about 20 teams that are average. And on their day, they're great. And on the other end of the spectrum, they're terrible. And the Titans were terrible yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do agree with Jeff in the fact that it's a long season, and the Titans are in a big group of teams that has not separated themselves, that are just fine. There are a lot of just fine teams in the NFL. Problem is, a lot of those just fine teams are breaking in rookie quarterbacks and have the sign of a plan long term. Titans don't have that yet.
And I can't remember who the caller was this morning, but had said they're a couple years behind in draft picks in the way that, and that really it does kind of make sense with some of the misses that they've had in the past.
615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, we'll hear what Ryan Tannehill had to say about the 3rd and longs yesterday in Cleveland, the difficulties the Titans had in that. Back to the phones as well, where Rob will lead us off after the break. Second half of the show already on a Reaction Monday edition of RKW.
It's football season. It's time to switch to Zen Sports, the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee. Changing the betting bonus game with their cash rewards program. When you sign up for Zen Sports with the referral code, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. 5%. Think about that for a second, okay? On Zen Sports, if you keep betting, you keep earning also. Earn up to 3% on your betting volume every month with their cash loyalty programs. What is the cash loyalty program? Well, other sportsbook is rewarding you every month with cash, not credits or points that they won't give back to you, okay? We're talking about hard cash here. So stop wasting time and money on other sportsbook when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet will thank you later. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
What's going on? 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans fell to the Browns 27-3 on a day that neither the offense nor the defense could gain any momentum. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans offense were held to 94 total yards, averaged 1.7 yards a carry, and their longest play from scrimmage was a 31-yard pass to Chris Moore. Titans fall to 1-2 and look to rebound against the Cincinnati Bengals, who face the Rams tonight right here on 104.5 The Zone at 7:15. Elsewhere in the AFC South, the Texans humbled the Jags 37-17 in a game that the 2022 AFC South champions never led. Went into the half down 17. The Texans scored the most points they've ever scored in Jacksonville, and this.
The ball is bobbled, and it's picked up by the fullback, and he's got running room. Andrew Beck, after Boone couldn't handle it, it's still going. Beck, he's going to go all the way in. Did we just see what we just saw?
You seen it. Andrew Beck, the heaviest player to ever score on a kickoff return over 50 yards. And probably the biggest story of the day yesterday, Travis Kelce absolutely crushed it in front of new boo Taylor Swift, hauling in 7 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Taylor was seen screaming obscenities next to Kelce's mother, so you could assume things are going well. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Monday morning on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on a Reaction Monday edition of the show. We've got Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. And in the F&M Bank chat, where you can watch the show on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll hear from, thank you, Ryan Tannehill coming up in just a moment as he discusses the 3rd and longs that plagued the Titans offense yesterday in Cleveland. Fans going through it this morning, and we certainly don't blame you.
No. Mm-hmm. No, it's whatever you're feeling, it's all right. Say it. And you know what? 615-737-1045.
Yeah, and we've had busy phone lines all morning long.
The good thing is there are actually spots open on the call line now.
There we
so
go.
If you'd like to get your call in, go ahead and get it in because it keeps filling up so quickly that if you've been trying to call in and can't get through, just keep trying.
Keep trying.
Yeah, we got a couple open lines right now we can get to. And, of course, on Mondays, we have no guests. Right. You are our guest.
You are
Be our guest. Let's dip our toe into the F&M Bank chat, shall we?
Oh, we about to do that?
Let's dip our toe in, see what the water is like. We have Jairus say, we should have kept Mariota for all this.
What?
That's good.
Okay. Dipping my toe in, the water is not fine so far. Eric writes in, says, Robert sounds too happy. I need him more somber. Come on, Robert. What are we doing, man?
Oh.
How dare you?
My team lost yesterday, too.
Right?
Music City Malik said, are we the new Browns?
Oof. I'm surprised he wasn't saying put in Malik yet. I'm sure he'll give him a couple minutes. He'll be saying that in the chat here in a minute.
That's been heavy. That's been heavy on the comments.
There hasn't been as much Tannehill blame after this one. I will say that.
Yeah. I think you know what you're getting yourself into, though. People sympathetic to the fact that he has hardly any protection for a long amount of time.
But in game 1, it wasn't that way. It was get Tanny out.
Retired SF is going after my take for saying the Titans are an average team. Says, I know the Zone is the official Titans station, but be honest. I am being honest. There are a lot of very average on some days and good on other days and terrible on other days teams that are 1 and 2 in the NFL right now. And the Titans are one of them. Would you guys agree the Titans are in that middle group of teams in the NFL?
I just don't think
about 20 teams deep.
I don't think you know enough about them yet. Now, if this offensive line doesn't get better, then yeah, they're going to probably be below average. But right now, I'll still put them in that average thing because There's not a lot of good teams right now. And even if you do, like, look at the Arizona Cardinals. They were at the bottom of my list last week, my bottom 3. And then they go beat one of the best teams that we thought was the Dallas Cowboys in this league 3 games in.
I'll say this. We're starting to learn a lot about this team, though, too. Teams with good defenses play this team very well. I think we're starting to learn the protection of what this team has in front of us is getting exposed. I also say the back end of the defense, the secondary, has had a lot of saying too much. A few chunk plays that have broken down over the course of the defense also. I'd say we're learning now that teams will adamantly, forcefully stop Derrick Henry with the amount of players that are playing at the line of scrimmage. And there has hardly been much adjustment when you're trying to give Derrick the ball that becomes almost embarrassing with you trying to bang your head up against the table as far as getting the run game going. I don't know if you blame Tim Kelly. I don't know if you blame Derrick. I don't know if you blame the offensive line when it comes down to not finding a solution in those moments. I think we've learned that so far. Again, if you could have watched in person the way that Browns defense looked and also the Saints defense, the Chargers defense I don't think was good enough to do it against Derrick and Tajay the way they did. But we know that so far. And if that doesn't change, average will go to below average real fast.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's the sign of a average team in the NFL at this point of the year are teams that are inconsistent and capable of a 3-point dud on the road or a win over a team that I think is also at the high end of that average group against the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you don't know enough about teams to say who is great and who is terrible, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions on either side. But like Kayla said, we thought the Cardinals were terrible, and they just beat the Cowboys at home. So 3 weeks in, you can maybe call one team great and one team bad. Everyone else is pretty much average, is the point that I'm making, and I don't think that's unreasonable.
And real quick on that,
yeah.
I think why some of these fans are just like, there's no in between is because they're carrying some of last year still, right? Into this
Which is
year.
fair. I understand that. You've lost 9 of 10. Good teams don't lose 9 of 10.
I wish I didn't hear that.
Well, then you have Brian in the chat who has, let me scroll up, trade Ryan to New York and start Malik, Brian says.
Yeah, there we go.
And with that, we will be exiting the F&M Bank chat. I don't even have words for that.
There's so
That
many
is
takes.
a
It's
level
wild.
of lunacy that I can't even comprehend at this point. The veteran quarterback can't play behind a bad offensive line, so let's put in the guy who's never had a 100-yard passing game. Malik's not ready for that. If you put in Malik Willis, the only reason is because he can maybe escape more quickly than Ryan, and I don't think you cross that bridge till about week 10. Goodness sakes. To the phones. Rob in Virginia is up next. 615-737-1045. Hey, Rob.
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing this morning?
We are making it.
Then look, man, I ain't got as much enthusiasm as I had last week when I called y'all when we won, but it is what it is. So I'm telling everybody right now, I'm just sipping coffee. Do me a favor and back up off me.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just want to call, man, to tell y'all, man, that we coming in. You know, we had a loss, and it's just we just going through it, man, with the offensive line. You know, with the struggles we got going on, but you know, we got to understand too that, man, these guys are NFL players, man. They ain't out there for no reason. You know, so I want to give them credit, man, because they out there, they battling, they trying to do the best they can. You know, and coaching wise and everything else, everybody's got to be on the same accord for us to end up trying to finally get this thing together. You know, and I want to agree with y'all too. I want to let y'all know y'all made a good point when Miles had tapped the man on the shoulder and told him what he had to tell him. That's just an extension of Jim Schwartz. If you think Jim Schwartz ain't want to beat the devil out of us, somebody's been told you wrong, because he wanted that. He wanted that bad.
Yeah.
He wanted that bad. So that's what that was all about. And then we get, then we start to get back to the certain things we look at years ago with our DBs. They playing so far off the ball, and they allowing them to get 5, 6, 7, 8 yards at a pop, and that's one of the things we definitely can't have.
Yep.
You know, we definitely can't have that, because that's what put us in the positions we get put in. A lot of the times they got to be on that ball, they got to be up there, and they got to be ready to go. You know, so we're gonna deal with that for a little bit, and I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough. It's tough right now, you know, for us to, you know, try to get it together. But and as far as, you know, talking about Vrabel or whatever, as far as his coaching style or whatever, I agree with y'all too about his job not being in jeopardy, Kayla. I agree with you, because if anybody gonna look at anything, they're gonna look at Rand, and you know, and I truly believe this in my heart. You know, with Rand being hired, it had nothing to do with hiring a minority. It had everything to do with the success he had building that team in San Francisco. So if things don't turn out the way they need to turn out in the next couple of years or two, that's who they're going to be looking at.
Appreciate the call, Rob.
Rob, going back to the DB situation real quick. Remember when they had the third down issues on this defense, guys? And we were a broken record until they brought in Jim Schwartz and helped Shane Bowen kind of figure some things out. That was the most frustrating thing I've ever had to ask those guys every single week in the locker room. How do you fix this third down situation? They finally figured it out, right? Now I feel like it's, how do you stop giving up the big X plays? Yeah. This has been a freaking conversation for the last year and a half.
It's tough.
And I'm going to the locker room every week.
It's going to be tough.
And it's like, what is this with the things that I guess like seem so simple?
Popcorn.
To us.
This is that.
Right?
Yeah.
Three
but
plays
can't be
of
fixed.
20-plus yards for Cleveland yesterday.
And they're difference makers, Will, right?
Right. The Titans had 3 plays of more than 10 yards yesterday. The Browns had 3 more than 20. 43, 29, 25. They had 10 plays of 12-plus yards, the Browns yesterday.
10 of 12-plus?
10 plays of 12-plus yards yesterday.
I saw a statistic. The Browns have the 3 best defensive performances. The 3 best defensive performances of the year were week 1 for them, week 3 for them, and week 2 for them. They have every top 3 best performance this year.
So this was Ryan Tannehill yesterday speaking about the third and longs, and that was the theme between his comments and Mike Vrabel's comments about what plagued this offense.
Yeah, it's brutal. You know, you put yourself in third and long situations, especially with a front like that. It makes it tough. You know, we knew going into the game we wanted to be in third and shorter situations. You know, like you could say that every week, but especially against a team with a front like that. You know, when they're able to tee off up front and then sink a bunch of guys into coverage on third and long situations, you know, you're in a tough situation as an offense.
There was one point in the fourth quarter, guys, where the Browns had a sack with a 4-man rush against a 7-man protection. A 7-man protection. And 4 guys can get home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
NFL offenses should never be giving up sacks against a 4-man rush with 7 blockers on the field. Ever.
A 3-man rush can be tricky. But 4 men, you could designate who's getting who a whole lot better.
That's like a high school football team that's got a division where there aren't many college prospects and there's one 5-star that has 5 sacks a game. That's what Myles Garrett looked like yesterday. When your team down the road, you hear this big new talent's coming up in your local high school football team and he gets like 6 sacks a game and then is your kicker and your punter and then plays a little quarterback too. They could have put Myles Garrett at Wildcat quarterback, and I feel like he would have had a good day yesterday.
And you know what? I have to say this, too. I correlated Myles Garrett to Jadeveon Clowney last week for his lack of finishing.
I was just going to bring that point up.
I just got to correct that because if you have a reset game the way he did and closes it out and have a defense that plays with you the way he's capable of doing, he made a statement yesterday. He's a problem. I don't think I've seen a player cause a delay of game because of the offensive shifts.
Because you're shifting 2 guys to mirror him. Crazy. 615-737-1045. We'll get to Doug on the phone lines coming up. Rapid fire on the phones and a look around the AFC South as well as we continue in Hour 3 on RKW.
It's Ramon Foster, my PhD weight loss. Y'all know it is Monday, and Monday means the start of the week, which means you can restart your lifestyle, your diet, however you want to look at it. I always kind of say with my PhD weight loss, you're restarting your trajectory in life simply because it's going to be a plan specifically for you, not a cookie cutter that they pass out to everybody else. Depending on your lifestyle, how busy you are, how often you're on the go, and what your body makeup is, they will cater a diet to you, a lifestyle change for you. On average, most male clients lose between 3 to 5 pounds a week, and female clients lose between 2 to 3 pounds a week. And it doesn't matter if you need to lose 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 30 pounds, just a cool 20. Guess what? They will make it happen. And the best thing about them, too, is they will guarantee the results, too. Because if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. That is the guarantee that they will send out to you, and they live by that, okay? If you're in the lifestyle changing market, the way myself and others are, visit myphdweightloss.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Now this is a 44-yard field goal. So they lost 9 yards in 3 plays. Nick Folk to try it. Snap, set, Folk's kick is on the way. Good!
Those are the points for the Titans yesterday in Cleveland as we take your calls on a Reaction Monday edition of RKW. 615-737-1045 is our number. A scoring drive, guys. 4 plays, -9 and 2:06. Ended in 3 points.
The positive side of it, you were the first team to go into the red zone and score against the Browns.
That's right.
That's very true, Bert.
Still just 3, though.
It's very true, Bert.
You got to take what you can get, man. You got to take what you can get.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you, Bert. That's what you got this morning.
To the phones.
Victory!
Doug is up next. 615-737-1045. What's up, Doug?
Hey, how you guys doing? First-time caller. Want to talk just real quick about coaching and Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
On the coaching, I struggle with week in and week out, going back a few seasons, seeing the other team's star players getting off against the Titans and our star players not being able to do anything. And it's not just the last 2 games, 3 games. It's been a couple of years. And to me, that's got to have something to do with coaching. You guys mentioned Schwartz a little while ago. We had to bring him in to help with third downs on defense, and he helped fix that problem. And it just seems like the coaching we have, I think Vrabel's safe. I think he's a good head coach. But somewhere down the line, conditioning, special teams, we're just having some coaching problems. I watched last week when they the announcers sat and talked about Bosa on the sideline. Would he come in? What would happen? He finally comes in his very first play, he gets a sack. I don't understand how that happens. And when we talk about Tannehill on third down, like there was a play yesterday, he backs up on third down and actually kind of steps to his left and puts his back to Myles Garrett before he gets hammered by Myles Garrett. I don't understand those kind of things. If you know they have these star players, why are we not scheming against it? It's like running our star player, Derrick Henry, into the middle of a box of 8 players and expecting something good to happen. I just don't understand how all that stuff keeps happening, and it's got to have something to do with coaching. The last thing I'll say about Ryan Tannehill, and I never hear anybody talk about it, but he looks at the receiver he's going to throw to every single time. He does, and it's always he gets a credit for the bad offensive line, but the man can't look at a second receiver. I don't think he was like that 2-3 years ago since the time he had the ankle injury or whatever, but it's like he comes out of the huddle, I'm going to throw to DeAndre Hopkins, and it doesn't matter if he's covered by 5 people. That's where he's going to throw the ball. It's like he has no vision for the field, and I don't understand it, and it's not all because of the offensive line. We see other quarterbacks in the league, they roll out, they step up, they move around, they buy time. So obviously the offensive line is a problem, which again is back to coaching or recruitment or drafting or something. But Ryan Tannehill is simply not seeing the field because think of how many wide open receivers the first couple of weeks.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate the call. We've got to be on a little bit of a timer with loaded lines on a Monday morning, but we appreciate it.
All of these callers sound like the teacher from Stand and Deliver. How do I reach these players? How do I reach these kids?
Man, Doug's fired up, though.
I agree with him that's an issue for Tannehill, staring down one guy. Has been for a couple of years now. Here's the biggest issue Mike Vrabel has along those same lines, and we'll get to calls because I know we've got a ton of them. But the biggest issue the Titans have right now is it's hard to be bad and boring. And the Titans are boring and they're bad yesterday in Cleveland. That's what Tennessee ran into in its last coaching search. You know why Tennessee went from Jeremy Pruitt to Josh Heupel? Because at the very least, Josh Heupel will be entertaining. Especially when you've got a team scoring 70 in South Beach with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not the standard. That's the outlier. But it is really hard, and you're going to get more frustrated fan bases when you're bad and boring at the same time, and you scored 3 points, and it's not fun to watch for a second.
Yeah, and some fan brought up on the F&M Bake chat that they looked flat from the start, and I would agree with you. There didn't seem to be the juice, at least, even that we see with this defense, because that's at least what Titans fans have been able to at least talk about after a loss sometimes is, yeah, great defensive effort, right? At least the defense went out there and did its part. I felt like there was a lack of energy, a lack of physicality in the defense yesterday as well, knowing what they were going to go up against, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that their defense for the Browns was probably going to hold the Titans to very few points. And I know it's not just the defense's job to win games. I know that. But they've been the energy ball in this Titans team for years now, for the past several years. And in a game like this, to kind of drop the ball in that situation, I was just surprised.
And that's something we haven't spoken about yet, is that the defense was probably not good enough to win yesterday either. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, no, they were not.
Yeah, you can sometimes watch these games and say the defense had no shot considering the amount of 3-and-outs. And there is some truth to that, right? The defense was not 27 points of bad. They were
right,
but they still weren't good enough to win. They still gave up far too many explosive plays, 10 plays of 12-plus yards. And it starts in the secondary, where you were actually healthy this time. And you still were giving up explosive plays. There was no excuse for them to look as bad as they did against Deshaun Watson, who has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL since he took over as the starter of the Cleveland Browns. There is zero excuse that we can give that defense. They were healthy, and they got shredded.
You know what was bad on the defense as far as they go? Cleveland opens up the first drive, almost goes 7 minutes, and only get a field goal out of it. But that's also the bad part about why you mentioned the defense now.
Yep. You're right. Let's go to Brad in Clarksville, 615-737-1045. Hey, Brad.
Good morning, everyone. I would actually counter what Kayla was just talking about. I think the defense came out with juice, but they missed a couple of key early plays, and that set the tone for the rest of the day. Arden Key missing that sack on play 1 or play 2. I think that gave Watson confidence that he was going to be able to handle himself better today. They set him up with a lot of quick early throws that gave him success, and they built off that confidence. And after we missed that sack, we had him another time dead to right. He escaped, made a play, got a first down. In that first drive, there were 2 or 3 different instances where the defense was there. They just didn't finish. And I think that set the tone for the entire game. And I'm worried about the psyche of this team. I know that this team has lost 2 of 3, but a lot of these players have lost 9 of 10. And I think when they start to see things sliding back a little bit, it's picking up more steam now than it has in years past. And that's a big concern for me. Other concerns, we have no quick hitting plays. I don't know if we don't have a receiver on the roster that can win a 1v1, but I would love to sit down with Tim Kelly and draw up what a quick slant looks like, maybe see if that works. And then, going back to Brian in the F&M chat, why would we trade Tannehill to the Giants and start Malik when we could just trade him to New Orleans and maybe they'll give us Chris Olave? Because that would also be a good thing that we might try. And I say that in total sarcasm.
Yeah.
And Brad,
thank you, Brad.
I think and you made a great point. But that was my point. You have two opportunities, and just because you don't get those 2 opportunities, it sets the entire tone of the defense. Then they came out flat overall because of that situation. It was almost like they just couldn't get to him. And you're right, those 2 specific plays, I'm with you. It's almost like Arden Key and them, they had all that energy in one rush.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't get to him, and it's almost like that set the tone for Watson.
Cleveland kept him out there for a long time, too, by continuation of drives. You wear down. And I'll say this, too. The 9 out of 10 thing keeps coming up, and I just go this route. Winning is contagious, and so is losing, too.
Yep.
So there's some fairness in that. You hope it don't hold true, but that's a part of sports.
I think we can also say, at least I'll say it, I won't speak for you guys, Christian Fulton was no better than the undrafted guy who was playing in his shoes last week in Trey Avery. Defense looked the same.
Been getting a little worked, man.
That's your number one corner.
Yeah, they had all their starters out there.
Number 1 corner who's healthy. And he's either not healthy or he's just not a number 1 corner. And I think there's probably truth in both. Christian Fulton is not going to be here next year. Had a big prove-it season coming up. We spoke about him all off season. He has not shown up in the way the Titans defense needs him to. Point blank.
the next thing, too, as we get back to these calls, the idea that it's only a one-off Deshaun Watson situation, you got numerous mobile quarterbacks coming in that have a level of escapability that you got to worry about. Geno, you got CJ, you got Tua, you got think about the guys that do the exact same things.
Yeah.
Stroud. Like,
Right.
you got a lot of the same guys that do the exact same thing that Deshaun's capable of doing.
Including the two behind Tannehill on the roster.
Facts.
I mean, Levis and Willis.
Closing out sacks because rushing covers do work in tandem.
And we talked to Big Jeff and them about that this week. We talked to them about that.
Wow.
Let's go to Eddie up next, 615-737-1045. Hey, Eddie.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Good morning.
Good morning. What I want to say about the Titans, Tannehill, the Titans are beginning to be the same Titans they were after Steve McNair, Eddie George, and Wayne Bishop and all them left. Because they won their game last week, and it's like they won the Super Bowl. But they don't concentrate on the next game because it takes teams for granted. And the offense, once they did something good one week, everybody jumped them down. They did this and did that. And now that they're getting their butt whooped, then they'll go back to the same thing. Well, we're going to look at the tapes again and see what comes out of it. But like someone made a statement this morning, why are you going to keep eating the same food and getting the same results out of it? So you're going to have to move around a little bit or make some changes somewhere in the line because it seems like it's an old, what's the owner name? Bud Adams. It seems like that, you can't get that ghost off your back. So I don't know what's going to be good for them, but I know Tampa Bay got a better record than they got. And so I'm hoping the Titans get together because I'm really not a Titans fan because I stay here because I've been let down so much. And I ain't going to say, well, you're a hard Titans fan, you should be. But, sometimes if you put your same money in the same fuck machine and you don't win nothing, what you do? You move on and get to another machine.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
615-737-1045. We'll go to Chris next with us on the phone lines. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. So to kind of stay with the current theme of all the calls coming in, I think I can kind of explain what the Titans are dealing with right now. Ramon will attest to this, too, because he plays football much longer than I can. But there are three things that decide essentially every single football play you'll ever watch. One is numbers, two is leverage, and number three is being able to win one-on-one battles. The Titans' biggest issue right now is not numbers and leverage because they have a great coach. You can coach up numbers and leverage and against it and for it. But right now, they do not have enough players that can win one-on-one battles. If you can't do that, you're absolutely dead in the water. You isolate any one of our linemen against the likes of a Joey Bosa or Garrett or Myles Garrett, and what can happen. We just saw it yesterday. And even our receivers, you put them up against a Denzel Ward or a top cornerback, there are very few guys in that room that can actually win a battle for Tannehill. And then our DBs, they got cooked by Amari Cooper. They got cooked by Keenan Allen. And you can see the running team. Yeah, right now the Titans just don't have enough number one guys that can go out there and win and actually help Ryan Tannehill and his coaching staff make their job easier. That's all I got. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I think that's a great call. Yeah. And to add to that, I would actually say Ryan, though, is in that conversation too. For all the slack and grief, or for all the slack we give Ryan Tannehill because he doesn't have a line in front of him, at some point he's got to win a one-on-one and just make somebody miss too. It's not saying he's the one at fault, but it is saying that he's a part of the problem. And I agree that the Titans have very few players that can win a one-on-one matchup on either side of the field. Jeffrey Simmons can. Derrick Henry can in open space. Treylon Burks can beat a guy deep, but I'm concerned about his ability to hold on to the football when there's a defender draped all over him. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins won some one-on-one matchups. That's about it yesterday.
Yeah.
But you can't use that as an excuse either because they're all professionals,
it's man. It's not an excuse.
I'm sorry, you're getting paid.
It's the reason why they are where they are.
Yeah, but I get that. I get that caller. It's a good point, but my goodness, these guys are getting paid.
Yeah. There is a level of professionalism that there's a level of expectation that comes along with the job. And sometimes it's beating your person one-on-one that has to happen. And these situations is not as often as you like in these first 3 weeks.
But yesterday it looked like that, right?
Yeah.
Like they were getting beat at every one-on-one position.
All three phases yesterday.
Caples in Springfield is next. 615-737-1045. Hey, Caples.
Man, I feel bad for y'all on days like this. I tell y'all that every Monday we lose, but the stuff y'all have to deal with the callers and the people in the chat, man, it's just, when your team is sucking, it's already bad. But when your fans are just, I'm going to just say it, idiots, it make it 10 times worse. So I just feel bad for y'all. It's been some good callers today and a whole bunch of good points, but I just wanted to touch on one thing real quick with Will's take on the team being average. Will, you being nice, man, because we average is not what I see. I see a bad football team.
Well, I didn't say they were average yesterday. I said they were horrible yesterday.
No, man, they've been bad all season. It's just, we had a chance to win one game in New Orleans and we didn't pull it out, but we really could have lost last week too. So, the whole thing with coaching and winning the one-on-ones, those were the great points because, like, why are we running long routes that take time to develop when we got a bad offensive line? If y'all remember when AJ was here in the heyday, he was taking slants 60 yards, to the house. But, like, why would you sit there and run long routes knowing Tannehill don't have enough time? Where are the quick hitting routes? But then it goes to what the guy said, who gonna win a one-on-one besides Hopkins? Because I don't know if people got NFL Plus, but if you go watch the R22, a lot of our star players, the Burst is not getting open a lot. Then he's dropping stuff when he gets open. So where does Tannehill go? His security blanket, his liners blanket is Hopkins, and obviously Hopkins made contested catches yesterday. So that's where he's gonna go. And I'm not a Ryan Tannehill supporter by any means. I feel like his time is up here. But to those people who keep on yelling about Malik and Levis, how do you think anything's going to be different if Dillard is pushed into Malik's lap and Levis' lap when they in there too? It's not going to make a difference. It's a wholesale thing going on that trickles down into everything. Bad trickles down into everything. So I'm not a Tannehill supporter. And, yeah, he's staring down people, but I also saw him go through progressions and go to his next read, and the corners just jumped the play yesterday. So, it's not just Tannehill. Everybody, get Tannehill out of here. Yeah, I want him out of here too, but he's still our best chance to win because Levis and Malik are not ready, and they not it. So, you can't say keep your powder dry to them fans. Some of y'all just need to stop calling and get off the chat. Bless y'all, man. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Caples. We talked about it earlier, and I think genuinely this is what's happening quickly before we go to break. People that want Malik Willis are just bored. The offense is boring, and Malik Willis and Will Levis represent something that's a little less boring.
Not wrong.
I don't think anyone actually believes Malik Willis can do a better job than Ryan Tannehill right now. But we talked about it earlier. It's hard to be bad and boring, and Malik Willis might be worse, but he's definitely not going to be as boring. I think that's where fans are right now. They'd rather be entertained than actually have a decent ceiling of a product on the field. Granted, we weren't close to that ceiling yesterday. 615-737-1045. More phone calls coming up next. We'll start with Larissa on the other side. It's RKW.
I am joined now by certified arborist and our good friend Dean Glasscock. And Dean, I heard it's a pretty special day and you've got some news to share with us.
Hey there, that's right, folks. 29 years we've been serving everybody here in Nashville. I got some great news. We have partnered up with a company called Save a Tree. So I'm still going to be around. We're all still going to be around, same crews and whatnot. We've just partnered up because we've been so busy and our backlog is crazy. So we had to bring on some talent. We've tried to hire and can't find people, so we went another direction. And we're super excited because this is a great company to work for, and the future is promising. So, again, 615-299-9999. Nothing's really going to change except the name. We're going to keep doing the great service we always have done.
And don't forget, if you want to fertilize your trees for the winter to get them ready for spring, give us a call, 615-299-9999. But don't forget, Arbor Art Tree Care, we are now a Save a Tree company and moving forward. So want to serve you all if we can. Give us a call. Thanks.
That is Dean Glasscock, and with some really interesting news. We're excited to bring you more. Of course, every single time you need exceptional service, make sure that you log in and you try them out. arborart.net, obviously changing. You can call them anytime, though, 299-9999.
Tannehill drops, looks, throws deep right side, and the pass is caught. Moore, what a catch! He took it off the back of the defender and is ruled down at the 9-yard line. Timeout, Tennessee.
Reaction Monday continues here on RKW. 615-737-1045, our number. Coming up, we'll take a look again at the Derrick Henry stats and numbers yesterday, the amount of loaded boxes he had to run against, and see what his performance yesterday means for the offense moving forward on a day where certainly we feel like changes are going to happen. Let's go to Larissa in Nashville next, where you can join us at 615-737-1045. Hey, Larissa.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the game was a huge stinker. We all know that. It was you want to clutch your pearls stinker. But I will say this. First and foremost, don't be a fly-by-night fan. If you're a Titans fan, hold on. There's still plenty of football left to be played. And, there's a lot of work that needs to be put in because I think that we're all kind of going preseason and prior to that, you're hoping and wishing there's still plenty of football left. So just stick with the team. I personally think that Tannehill gets beat up, literally and figuratively. But, just stand by the team. They're going to be all right. There's plenty of football left. And I'm going to hang up and listen.
Thank you, Larissa. Appreciate the call.
And I think it's good today. And look, you can have your opinion. You're the fans. I got my opinions about my teams too. It's good, though, that you get some low lows today of negativity. And you got some people that are positive about it because you're right. We are 3 games in. And, y'all, they did win last week. Yeah. They did beat the Chargers, and they did put up 27 points. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the positive person. You can look at him all you want over there, but I'm just saying.
No, I wasn't looking at Will went to the phones over there.
I'm just saying, giving a little side eye here. I'm just saying you can be positive and negative as a Titans fan. Right now.
But the only thing the fans going to tell you, in that one win, that was 9 out of 10 losses, though, too.
And I brought that up.
Yeah, earlier. I know you did, but the fact that it was 9 out of 10 losses is that one win does nothing but it's a Band-Aid for nothing right now.
So you're saying you didn't get anything out of that win against the Chargers? That win
was a good win
garbage.
against the quarterback, but they also almost lost the game again to an 0-3 team in Minnesota yesterday too. Only thing they got going for them is they got really good offensive production as a team, and the Titans stopped that last weekend.
That's the point of week 3, too, is that we don't have enough of the transitive property to say what was a good win or what was a bad loss until, week 8 or 9?
Right.
In this league?
Yeah. I mean, you can't just say the Chargers are crap.
Well, of course not.
No, they're not crap. Absolutely not.
You don't know how bad of a loss the Saints game was either. I mean, that's why I'm putting about 25 teams in the same tier of the NFL right now.
Right. It's hard to get a huge sample right now because you don't know what the teams exactly are earlier on in the season, and you are 3 games in. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
I'm just trying to play both ends of the fence. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out on that, but I know that probably is not what people want to hear.
615-737-1045. Coming up, what Derrick Henry's performance means for the offense moving forward. More phone calls. We'll start with Dante on the other side coming up next.
Oh, no. Have you heard about lab-grown diamonds? Here's a word of advice. Don't buy a lab-grown diamond until you talk to my friends at Genesis Diamonds. Genesis will reveal the secrets behind this new product and make sure that you are protected if you decide to buy one. Genesis non-commissioned experts will teach you the difference between a natural diamond and a lab-grown diamond so you can make the smartest, most informed decision. One important fact you will learn is how some jewelers are grossly overcharging for lab-grown stones. There are some insane markups going on, and you need to be aware of them. For example, at some stores, they're selling 4-carat round lab-grown diamond stud earrings at around $9,000. But at Genesis, you can get them for half that price with better quality diamonds too. And yes, I said half that price. Bottom line, you need to get informed. You need to get a second opinion, and you need to be careful and informed and be an informed customer. And that's what Genesis promise. They are transparent and will always teach you what you need to do, what you need to know to have a smart buy, just like they always have done. Genesis Diamonds, your trusted advisor when it comes to complex world of diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs, the official jeweler also of the Tennessee Titans.
What's going on? Good morning. 8:59, just a hair before 9 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans fell to the Browns yesterday 27-3 on a day that neither the offense nor the defense could gain any momentum. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans offense were held to 94 total yards. They averaged 1.7 yards a carry, and their longest play from scrimmage was a 31-yard pass to Chris Moore. Titans fall to 1-2 and look to rebound against the Cincinnati Bengals, who face the Rams tonight at 7:15 right here on 104.5 The Zone. Elsewhere in the AFC South, the Texans humbled the Jags, 37-17 in a game that the 2022 AFC South champs never led. They went into the half down 17. The Texans scored more points than they have ever scored in Jacksonville. And this.
The ball is bobbled, and it's picked up by the fullback, and he's got running room. Andrew Beck, after Boone couldn't handle it, it's still going. Beck, he's going to go all the way in. Did we just see what we just saw?
You seen it. Andrew Beck, the heaviest player to ever score a kickoff touchdown of longer than 50 yards. And probably the biggest story of the day yesterday, Travis Kelce absolutely crushed it in front of new boo Taylor Swift, hauling in 7 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Taylor was seen screaming obscenities next to Kelce's mother, so you can only assume that things are going well. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Nine o'clock in Music City as we welcome you in to a brand new, hot off the press, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with loaded phone lines talking Titans. We're not surprised, and you're probably not either, that so many of you are in line ready to talk about yesterday's loss, 27-3 to the Cleveland Browns. We take your reaction all morning long at 615-737-1045 and all day long. On a Reaction Monday, the Buck Rising Show takes the baton after us, Blaine and Mickey, 3HL. A good day to just sit on the couch, talk about it, air it all out. And then Wednesday, we'll start to wash it away and move forward. Tomorrow, we'll talk about the week that was in the NFL. But it's time to take some deep breaths and join the therapy session this morning. Just lean into it a little bit. Lean into it.
I feel like we're a little bit of psychologists today.
Same foot, same shoulder. That's what you're doing today. Just leaning into it.
The big stat we discussed earlier this morning, yesterday, when it comes to the Titans' rushing attack, Derrick Henry, against a stacked box, that's 8+ defenders on 6 of 11 rushing attempts, faced a stacked box. On those attempts, he averaged negative 2.3 yards before contact per carry, meaning that on average, against a stacked box and 11 rushing attempts, Derrick Henry was hit 2.5 yards in the backfield every single time. On average. There were times it was worse. There were times it was a bit better. But very few opportunities for Derrick Henry to run the football yesterday. 20 yards on 11 carries, the second lowest rushing total of his career. And we got to go back to Derrick Henry pre-come to Jesus meeting before the Titans got back from London.
Yeah.
To tell you about how bad things were in this one. We go back to the phones where Dante is in Nashville first up, 615-737-1045. Hey, Dante.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good morning.
Morning, good. So I have 3 really quick questions, and after that, I'll hang up and listen and let y'all talk about it. So the first one is, do you think Tannehill's pocket awareness is decreasing along with his inability to make quick decisions? And the second part of that is, or is it just the offensive line is just that terrible? And then the last thing I want to talk about was, why did it seem like yesterday that he didn't audible, or if he did, he didn't audible the right play when he knew the rush was about to come from the defense? And I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Dante. Ramon?
Quick hits. To me, I think it should have been more of a plan from yesterday, too, just in general, the way that defense was blitzing. But they were quick in the backfield, got their hands up. And then, of course, protection breaks down. Ryan Tannehill stayed in the pocket for that long. Would you? You have to ask yourself that, too. Like, watch quarterbacks when they see feet in front of them. They shrink and go down real quick because it's all about body preservation at that point, too. And just honestly having the ability to, check at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes you do, as offensive coordinators, at least the ones I've dealt with and watching other teams, too, say, we're just going to crack this. We're going to keep pounding the rock until it eventually cracks, and you hoping that you have some confidence and faith in your guys that you're capable of doing it. Yesterday just wasn't the case whatsoever. And we mentioned this on the break, too, and I just have to say this also. Week 1, there was a lot of complaints about Derek being in the game versus Tajay being in the game, too. And this is not one versus the other, but this is understanding the situation a little bit, too. When it really breaks down to how this offense flows with Derek versus how it flows with Tajay, it's this simple. Derek attracts a lot of flies. And I've been saying this on the station for a very long time, meaning Derek gets the ball, everybody's watching him. And if you don't have the ability to pump fakes or play action to Derek and go down the field because of protection lacking, you're really setting Derek up for failure. And you also having an offense where you say to yourself, are we better off working with more Tajay in these scenes? Tajay does get more positive yards because the box is a little bit softer. And it's not Tajay's fault. It's not Derek's fault. It's just the nature of the beast of what the expectation is from players in this game. I'm not saying push out Derek whatsoever, but the utilization of Derrick Henry has to be a little bit more comprehensive. You got to understand what you're getting yourselves into as a fan base and watching other teams defend themselves against Derrick Henry. It's a struggle to get the offense going in these situations. Will, you said they're 6 feet in the Imperial metrics. I mean, the Imperial system, right? Over 2 yards, he's getting hit in the backfield. Why would, for the people that want to hand the ball off to Derek 30 times a game, you're going to get fired if you do those things because of the way teams attack you. It's about making sense and trying to win games. Tannehill checking the ball at the line of scrimmage, could he do it? Yeah. But who are you checking it to if you got 2 tight ends in, 3 tight ends in, 1 wide receiver?
Yeah, you got 7-man protection. There's not a lot of checkdowns or quick passes you can throw because you have so many defensive backs just standing there covering 3 wide receivers in the route.
Or the rush getting home so quick that you're not allowed to get a ball out. Which tight end in a check do you trust to win a one-on-one? Not even Chig right now.
Right now, none of them.
If you have a 7-man protection,
None of
then
them.
you only have 3 players running routes and then your quarterback. That's 11 players.
What are we doing there?
So at that point, when the Titans are giving up a sack with a 7-man protection against a 4-man rush, that has nothing to do with Tannehill's pocket awareness or quick decisions. There's not a decision to be made. There's nobody to throw it to because they're all blocking.
Yeah.
And then they're also unsuccessfully blocking. So there is no magic formula for a 7-man protection that can't hold up. If you cannot hold up with a 7-man protection, you don't deserve to be playing in the National Football League. Point blank. So I don't think there's really much that Tim Kelly can do when you have a 3-man advantage blocking and you still can't block. There's no magic play. There's no fairy dust. Patrick Mahomes couldn't do that. You know when the last time we saw Patrick Mahomes and he couldn't hold up in pass protection? When the Titans held him to a field goal. I mean, this was 2 years ago. For all the conversation of, well, why can't Ryan do this? You were 2 years removed from watching your defense do exactly to the Chiefs what the Browns did to you yesterday. There is no quarterback that can get around wretched offensive line play. It doesn't exist. Mahomes can't do it. Josh Allen can't do it. Aaron Rodgers can't do it. Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it. He lasted 4 plays this season. I'm sorry. If you don't want Ryan Tannehill because you're bored, just say that. That's all you have to say. Be honest with yourself. I want Malik Willis because Ryan Tannehill bores me. That's fine. I'm okay with that take. Just own it. To the phones. 615-737-1045. Chuck is in Orlando calling in from sunny weather this morning, I hope. What's up, Chuck?
What's going on, peoples? Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
What's up, man?
I just wanted to hit on the point y'all made earlier about how the defense is kind of giving up plays, and which, yeah, true indeed. But I just wanted to put a magnifying glass on that and give out some stats. So I was looking. So Cleveland has 67 offensive plays to our 45. So that's 22 more plays. And the time of possession, they had the ball 38 minutes and 29 seconds to our 21 minutes and 31 seconds with only 1.7 yards per carry with Derrick Henry. So, like, that's a whole quarter that you pretty much asking the defense to play straight with no offense. And it's going to be some big plays being made when you having those kind of results. So I just want to, hear y'all's take. If y'all can kind of leave me on the line so I can hear your response.
No doubt.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chuck.
We saw this at the beginning of the game. Look at the first two series that Cleveland had. They ran the Titans sideways. They extended drives. Yep. They did a bunch of reverses. They did 2 double reverses in the same series. They tried their best to wear that defense down because I don't think that they knew at some point it would crack. And it did. Those late scores down the end of the stretch of the game was just simply tired guessing because they were efficient both in the run and the passing game and the play action game, and Deshaun Watson was continually getting out of bad situations too. You confuse yourself when you're out there on the field too long. They almost had the ball for 40 minutes. Screw the points, right? 27 points. Screw that. Imagine defending a team for 40 minutes. You break down. But that's also on the guys on that defense, too. Get off the field on third down. Stop the chunk plays. That's just football right there. That ain't even dissing nobody.
Right. I don't think time of possession is the stat that it used to be. Definitely not in college. Time of possession means nothing in college because you got offenses that want to get rid of it quickly even when they have success. But I don't know. I still don't think the defense played well enough to win yesterday, even, despite some of the good that they did and how long they had to be on the field. But I don't think any of us are making excuses for the defense either. No. This was a rare Mike Vrabel coach team that just got their butts kicked in every phase of the game yesterday.
They got it handed to them.
Hasn't happened much.
Straight up on a platter, baby.
But it definitely happened yesterday.
Was that the one that you get out the way? Is that where we at to? Because I don't want to overreact.
In week 3 already?
And I don't know, because game 1, you could say that was the one
you get out the way.
You get out the way, but then again, Ryan hadn't played in so freaking long that I don't know if he was just
Rust.
He just needed to shake that off because that was more of a Ryan Tannehill problem game.
Yeah,
that's
right? Do
you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So maybe this is the one, right? That you say that we can never go back to that.
But the defenses ain't gonna get no easier.
Nope.
And if you want to complain about Tannehill, the way you do that today, your best argument is by saying, this is why you should have been 2-0 going into this game, but he didn't do well enough week 1. That's your argument.
Sure.
I think that's more of a fair one than he didn't have the pocket awareness in Cleveland. Pocket awareness to do what?
Yeah.
Throw to who? DeAndre down the field one-on-one? Okay, they did that a couple times. You think Cleveland didn't adjust and start taking that away?
Yeah.
Cleveland's got good DBs. I mean, if he tries to let it fly a little bit more, you're probably throwing picks, and it's probably a worse score.
That's true. What'd you say? He had 2.2 seconds on
to get
that one
on
play
that third down to get out of
the
half.
third down at the end of the first time.
End of the first half. That's snapping the ball, looking, and done.
Dang.
By the way, too, not to even break your heart even more, Miami's averaging 43 points a game.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
Miami had more yards yesterday than the Titans have this season. True story.
And
with a 30-year-old running back as well.
And also a quarterback that people wrote off.
Yeah.
To your point about if you're going to be bad, be exciting.
Yeah.
I see what that means now.
Right.
At least be exciting when you're healthy.
That's you want to know why the Mike McDaniels of the coaches are being hired everywhere? They put butts in seats even when they lose. That's why quarterback guru coaches are the norm in the NFL. It's an entertainment league geared towards offense. If you're going to be bad, at least throw it down the field and try to draw spot fouls on pass interferences instead of banging your head against a wall in the run game. And do it with fun offense. Puts butts in the seats even when you lose. 615-737-1045, the number. More phone calls coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Yes, every single one of those items right there can be fixed through my friends at Hiller. I'm here to tell you that right now it's about to start getting cooler. I don't care if it hits the 80s, okay, which is even more of a reason to get your house AC unit checked out. But it's time to start thinking about the heating system because it's dropping into the 50s now, okay? You don't want to experience a breakdown when the first temperature drop happens, okay? So it's time to get your heating tuned up, taken care of. Luckily for you, it's Happy Half Off Month at Hiller, and tune-ups are 50% off this month. Hiller's making it easier than ever to tackle necessary home replacement by giving you 50% off select add-on items. Hiller's work also is backed by their Happy You'll Be or the service is free guarantee. That is the best thing going right now in Middle Tennessee. Expect free service if you're not okay with what they did in your house, all right? If you have anything going on with your home that you need to get checked out, whether that be plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical, reach out to my friends at Hiller. Visit them at happyhiller.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Tannehill drops, looks, throws deep right side, and the pass is caught. Moore, what a catch! He took it off the back of the defender and is ruled down at the 9-yard line. Timeout, Tennessee.
Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will continues. It's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is our number. We're about to go rapid fire on the phone lines.
Woo. Let's do it.
Evaluating the Titans' 27-3 loss to the Cleveland Browns yesterday. Of course, Tuesday, our college football day, our league-wide recap day. Tomorrow, you can hear some top 7, bottom 3. A lot of options for You're Not That Guy. Many of them were wearing two-tone blue yesterday, but we'll do that tomorrow as well. Austin Price, Ron Slay. Good week on the way. It'll be better than today's negativity, I promise. But for now, we go back to the negativity on the phones where Benny is in Clarksville. 615-737-1045. Hey, Benny. Benny. You there?
Benny in the jet.
Freaking bum. Benny is not there. Who knows if his Jets are or aren't there either. Daryl is in Nashville. 615-737-1045. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, what's up? Good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
I would like to say, James Franklin from Penn State, get ready. Get your team, get your people together. Come to Tennessee. And second of all, Tannehill he just don't have the legs no more. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He is our best chance to win. But teams like that, we need to play to win. Coach needs to sit up and say, hey, look, Tanny, you ain't doing your job right now. So I'm going to switch you out. As for the offensive line, they need to get to work. I'm not going to lose another quarter of losing money and sit there and watch that game like that. Nah. I'm going to get out here and make some money and all the way up until the end of the game. But the first quarter, if they ain't doing nothing, that's it for me.
I don't know if Daryl wants James Franklin to be the coach of the Titans or the Vols, but I'm
sorry, what
kind
was
of
that?
scared to ask.
What was that part, though? I was confused. Does anyone know what the
Just
Penn
getting
State?
fed up, man. And Penn State is James Franklin.
They look really good.
They want James Franklin to be the head
James
coach.
Franklin here.
Yeah.
James Franklin already gave up one job in Nashville. I guess maybe people are asking if he wants the other one.
Yeah, I mean, well, he has an NFL-style mindset other than the control part of it. He might have to get past the control aspect of it. I heard he operates like an NFL coach, though.
Really?
At times, yes.
I just want to throw up in my mouth thinking of James Franklin coaching the Titans.
Oh, well, I got a doggy bag for you.
Doggy bag?
Okay.
Do they still do doggy bags?
Yeah, I actually saw one recently.
Kids.
I saw one recently. Yeah. Ooh.
Mario in Memphis is next. 615-737-1045. What up, Mario?
Man, how y'all doing, man? I ain't gonna even call to be no negative Nancy this morning. No, none of that. I ain't gonna call, but I just got two things. I got 2 points I want to make. Okay. First of all, I heard y'all talking about the play before halftime. When we was down there, it was like 9 seconds left, and we was trying to get a score in. That's on Mike Vrabel and that offensive coordinator who is trash. People can stop protecting him.
Yep.
He is garbage. You put all that on Mike Vrabel because you hired him, and you know he's trash. You should have blocked. If anything you were going to do, you should have blocked. You should have blocked that DN, man. You know he's coming. This guy was a one-man wrecking chain yesterday. He just wrecked the whole offense yesterday. My second thing I want to talk about is that the offensive coordinator, y'all treating Derrick Henry, y'all going from the king to the prince. That's what you treating Henry like. You can't get Derrick Henry no 10, 11 carries a game and think he's going to get out. You got to get this guy going. You got to get him going, and people talking about Tannehill. Hear me when I say this. You drafted a quarterback in the second round. Why is this guy inactive every week? Like I said 2 weeks ago, Ramon, when I came on here, if you would have brought Tannehill back, we know the team was going to be bad. You bad with him right now. If you wouldn't have brought Tannehill back, you could have addressed this offensive line. You could have brought in some more help. What they paying him, Ramon? What they paying Tannehill right now? What's his salary?
About 27, 30, somewhere in there.
somewhere up in there. Okay, that's $27-30 million that you had to go address this offensive line. Everybody's talking about the offensive line. Let's talk about Mike Vrabel in the defense. Mike Vrabel in a situation that he done put this team in. You brought Tannehill back. If you would have told Tannehill you can't come back, he would have never been on the team. You drafted a quarterback in the second round. Why is he inactive every week? He should be out there playing because we're gonna be bad regardless. We're going to be bad regardless. Why not be bad with one of these young guys? At least know what you got.
Appreciate the call.
I got two things for Mike there. One, he started off saying he was not going to be negative, and then he was completely negative. That's like when your mama was like, "Come here." And why? And no, not why. Come here. And you're like, I ain't gonna hit you. And then, yeah, why are you talking like that in church? The other thing is we keep talking about having money for offensive line, but like if you look at free agents, Mike McGlinchey, right? He was the big offensive lineman this off year in the free agency. He didn't help the Broncos at all.
Yep.
Cover anything. So like it's not so much like we need money to go get guys because those guys are never available. You have to draft well and you have to develop guys. And it goes to the point of the offensive line is not a quick fix. You have to keep working at it. They have to keep bringing guys in, seeing if it works or not. And it looks like they found out whether it works or not. They just got to figure out what the next step is.
To that point, Miami's line ain't that great.
No, we've said this a lot.
You scheme it up
Yeah,
a
they've
little
got
bit
a scheme
more.
where
you hide it. And
throw
then
the ball quickly.
You allow those guys to grow up a little bit.
Right.
They also have speed that this Titans offense really doesn't have. And not even speed. They have elite speed, and that covers up for a lot of deficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you guys why, and I saw this last night too, Corey Curtis put this out, and then Brent Doherty put this out just now. The Titans are favored by 1.5.
The
against
Titans
the
are?
Bengals this
I
weekend?
said Joe Burrow ain't there.
Yeah, that's question mark.
They're
Burrow,
just pretty
and
much,
then-
okay.
Well, that's a rat line to try to get you to bet on a team that is worse than the visitor team, but you give the home team a 3-point advantage every time at home. That being said, those are not what they used to be. Like there's less betting will tell you there's worse home field advantage than ever right now.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was watching a video about that last week. That being said, the Titans were in the opposite end of that over the weekend. They just got beat by 24.
If Burrow's in, that's plus 4 points?
I would say minus 5.5 if Burrow is totally available. And I think that ends up being Cincinnati minus 1.5 if Burrow isn't available.
Home field advantage starts at what, 3?
3, yeah.
A favorite thing of bettors to do is to say, they've got a long West Coast road trip.
Right.
Yeah. And I always disregard that. Anybody can hop on a plane and ride for 3 hours, sleep in a hotel room. Like, I ain't going to give somebody points just because it's a long West Coast road trip.
Yep.
And by the way, Burrow and the Bengals play tonight. Now, whether or not Burrow plays tonight, that's obviously a question, too.
Right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Exactly. There we go. But if he doesn't play tonight, guys, I would think he's probably going to be ready for Sunday. That would be my guess.
They're throwing it out as 2 weeks, maybe even IR. I don't know how true that is. Yeah, 4 weeks IR, maybe. Yeah.
We'll see.
I know. That's going to be wild.
The other thing Mario said there that I disagree with is the fact that Derrick Henry needed more carries to get going. You don't go back to something that was negative yardage in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans had negative rushing yardage in the first half of the game. You don't just stick with that just to get the guy going. You have to try something else. And you don't just bang your head against a wall.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mario, but if you go back and watch that game, it wasn't much there to be had.
There wasn't.
With Derrick in the backfield.
Goody is in Rochester up next. 615-737-1045. Hey, Goody.
Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and Will Bowling.
Good morning.
Got me. I don't know what. Okay. All right.
He's so subtle.
He had the question mark.
Go ahead before I hang up on you.
So, if I wanted to watch bad cornerback play, I would rather see Trey Avery in than Christian Fulton. Just bad. As bad as Avery was, at least he's showing somewhat of effort. You know, Christian never available. Always, he gets hurt easily, and he's just always committing penalties. If I wanted to watch bad coverage, poor tackling, and no effort, I'd watch the Volunteers secondary.
Hey, man. What's wrong with you?
If I wanted to watch a bad team, I just watch the New York Yankees. But
what you got going
Is
on?
that Goody's
Goody does
team?
do that. Yeah, it is.
Goody's quick with it. I had to catch Goody in the alley somewhere.
I'm just eating my popcorn over here,
Yeah, we had to catch him in
watching
the
all
alley.
this.
He does have a point on Christian Fulton. He's got to be careful, though, because Christian's dad will start tweeting clown emojis at him like he did to me. The second you point out that Christian isn't a perfect player, his family will start coming after you on social media. So be careful, Goody, if you're going to do that. I can speak firsthand on that one. But, you could make the argument that, you know what you're getting in Trey Avery. You have no idea what you're getting week to week in Christian Fulton right now. He was in a prove-it year, and so far, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss.
What have you guys thought of SMB so far? And look, yesterday, I know there was some controversy on the PI calls, and one of them may not have been warranted. I think even Vrabel kind of mentioned going back and looking at some of that. But just overall play, how do you feel like SMB has done since coming in?
Been hot and cold.
Yeah.
And that
just
right there as a player,
you think?
The one thing you can't be as a player, and any coach will tell you, is I need you to be consistently good or consistently bad, because that at least lets me know where you at. And that's what's so frustrating, I think, about this team so far. And some of the players on it is that. Which one are you? Consistently good or bad?
The inconsistency part has been rearing its ugly
Facts.
head. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sean Murphy Bunting, who tweeted last night, all PIs should be able to be challenged.
All PIs?
Mm-hmm.
We went through that.
We've
We've
gone through that.
They botched it.
That is Sean Murphy Bunting's first comment on social media after that game, was complaining about the pass interference calls that he was given.
Oh, I don't want to have that conversation with me, because I can go back to 2019 as a player on that one. That one doesn't work. I'm sorry. Sometimes the human error aspect of it sucks, but it's a part of the game too.
Well, and Jeffrey Simmons did bring up in an interview after the game too. He brought up penalties as well in his conversation with reporters.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people were not exactly thrilled with that in terms of not making excuses. I don't think that he was making excuses, but he did say there were some things we were questioning.
Let's go to Ed up next in East Nashville, 615-737-1045. What's up, Ed?
Hey, guys. Hey, listen, man. Just a quick point. Let me ask you guys first. Why do you think they're putting 8 or 9 people in the box?
Because Derek subtracts it. His history says you should, or else he's going to break one on you.
No, that's not why they're doing it, Ramon. And I respect you, man, as a player. I really, really do. You know why they're putting 8, 9 in the box? I talk defensive players all over the league, man. They're putting 8, 9 in the box because Tannehill and the passing game is 0. Look, you can either pass the ball or you can run the ball in the NFL. That's the only way you're going to get down the field. You can pass it or run it. If you can't pass it, you're going to put 8, 9 in the box. They don't care about Derrick Henry. The passing game doesn't fear anybody. And it doesn't matter if it's Hill, if it's Malik Willis, or whoever else you put in there. Until you get a solid passing game, you're always going to see 8, 9 in the box. If you're a defensive coordinator for the Bengals next week, are you going to put 8, 9 in the box? Absolutely. Why? Because they can't pass the ball.
All right, let me break this down for you a little bit when you say you respect him as a player when it comes down to it. When I tell you they put 8, 9 in the box, because if you don't, Derek has the ability to break yard on you. And if that is the case and they do stop Derek, everybody goes into the meeting. When we played the Titans on my former team, it was if you stop 22, you win the game. Because, yes, the passing game is suspect, and these guys are kind of proving it as of late. So why would you not put 8, 9 in the box when it comes down to stopping Derrick Henry? It's foolish of you for you not to. And, of course, in those running sets that you put Derrick Henry out there, guess what? It's usually filled with tight ends that have not a whole lot of pass-catching ability. So guess what you do? You put guys up in the box to stop Derrick Henry, because if you don't, he's going to hurt you in a lot of different ways. I've said it time and time again. If you want to run the ball with Derrick Henry, you get in the nickel formation. You put more wide receivers out there. And guess what also happens? Then you have the ability to check out, throw the ball out to the flats when it allows you to in those situations. So, yes, you're partially right, and I'm partially right, too, in that same call when it comes down to why you stack the box up against Derrick Henry. I've been telling you guys this for years, and now you're just not starting to listen to the fact that, look, it's in front of you when it comes down to how you operate on this offense. Derek needs the ball a lot of times to get going. That is also his history. He's also gotten you 2,000 yards in that attempt, too. So, you're banging your head up against the wall to do the exact same things you've been successful at because it has worked, but now teams have caught up for it. That friggin' Browns defense was big. Look at their bodies that they have on defense. They're not afraid of losing the war of attrition. When they can rotate guys in and out, and they're capable of getting into the backfield because the offensive line is not up to par.
Well put. I'm with you. 615-737-1045 our number. That's two straight people who begin with, I respect you, but I talked to a lot of players that played in this league. Like you didn't play in this league.
Played against this team. I know exactly what the game plan is.
You know it's bad when Ramon takes his glasses off before he's able to respond.
I didn't even realize that.
Jim Schwartz has that mentality of don't let the stars beat you. And I know the frustration from this Titans fan base is when they see other stars beating them. There's an idea that you double the stars. Watching Amari Cooper go off yesterday is frustrating because you know who's getting the ball. You're just frustrated not seeing you close out Deshaun Watson because you know he's capable of making plays down the field too. The game is the game. You stacking the box or not, you not stacking the box against Derrick Henry is dumb as hell. It's dumb.
I know how Miles and RJ probably feel when they're in trouble at house.
Right. The glasses come off.
You got me.
No, it was deserved. You did well. That's two callers in a row. Let's see if we can top it.
We've been talking about that for 3 years now.
Let's go to Larry.
That's true.
See if Larry can redeem the callers here this morning. Hey, Larry.
Fresh slate.
Hey, I have talked to no players in the NFL.
Talking to one right now, Larry.
There we go, Larry.
First of all, War Eagle, and good Monday morning to everyone.
Good morning.
A little bit of positivity. I'm not here to bash anyone. I think that, Ramon, you're absolutely right about the stack of the box. They proved yesterday with our bad offensive line, you don't have to stack the box with 8. You can stack the box with 4, and you're still getting to the quarterback. So it comes down to we have to get the offensive line in check. If we don't get the offensive line in check, it just trickles down from there. We can't run the ball. We can't throw the ball. We have no offense. They're sitting on the sideline while the other team scores 50 points on our bad defense as well that we had yesterday. I mean, but it all trickles back to the offensive line, and they're so bad that they make you want to start day drinking. And you what even more frustrating as a fan, and I was going to tell you as well, I'm in a category of ride and die, Ramon, because from week 1 you wanted to know what category everyone was.
Yeah.
Caller. I'm ride or die, and it's getting to the point. It's so frustrating because you're going to see some of these guys that are so bad get new contracts.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how? How are you going to pay those guys again knowing they're that bad? And that's all I just want to say was,
thanks, Larry.
Let's get that offensive line in check, man. We've got an offense to score points.
Thank you, Larry.
And like you mentioned earlier, Will, and we said, we'll probably have this discussion this week, is at what point do you maybe start changing the line a little if you get Peter Skoronski back and you've got Dylan Radins now that seems to be healthy. Like, is that an option? Or when MPF comes back, that giving you more versatility, right?
True,
so
I'll say this before we go to our last break. I think Andre Dillard has a leash about as long as Xavier Newman's was 2 weeks ago this upcoming Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Andre Dillard probably starts at left tackle again, but Xavier Newman was pulled after 12 snaps against the Los Angeles Chargers before Dylan Radins came in. I'm telling him, you got about a quarter.
Yeah.
Show me something has improved in that quarter. Otherwise, if Skoronski is back and healthy.
And to add to that, too, before the London trip.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of decision-making is going to be made. Too.
I mean, I think it is a good year to have an early bye week.
I do
with
too.
some changes you might have to make on offense. We'll go rapid fire for one final time on the phone calls when we come back as we wrap up Reaction Monday on RKW.
It's Ramon and Will for Kellum Stem Cell Institute. Will, and this treatment, man, the stem cell treatment has been proven to be life-changing for a lot of people, man, and different variations, man. And I'm here to tell you, right now they have an exclusive September special. If you book a procedure in the month of September, you can get a 10% discount for all Zone listeners. And this is only for the Zone, too. Remember, when you go in and make this appointment, because you need to, okay, get 10% off if you mention the Zone, or just tell them that Will and Ramon sent you also.
These guys have been great for us to work with, great for Ron Slay as well, who I know has seen results, and there are plenty of reasons why. Dr. Kellum is a renowned orthopedic surgeon who has now devoted his career to this leading-edge holistic healing therapy. It works for professional athletes at several major franchises and individual players around the country. It's going to work for you, too. Visit KellumStemCellInstitute.com. Any inflammation, the aches and pains, Dr. Kellum's going to take care of that for you. That's Kellum, Kellum, StemCellInstitute.com.
Watson looks to his right, fires quickly that way, got it complete to Moore, and Moore is hit, lost the ball. The Titans have picked it up, and falling on it inside the 20 is Murphy Bunting. Bunting has made the play.
Wrapping up the show on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on the phone lines. Rapid fire on the way out. You can get in line for the Buck Rising show that is coming up next. Tons of Titans reaction, plus Mike Vrabel meeting with the media. That is later today during Buck's show.
Yeah, 11:45.
You'll be able to hear that at 11:45. We go to John up next, 615-737-1045. Hey, John.
Hey,
John, we cannot hear you.
John boy.
And John misses his opportunity. I'm sorry.
I heard you, Will, in the background.
I know. Bill in Nashville, 615-737-1045. Hey, Bill.
Okay.
And never
Guys,
mind.
we cannot have two strikes
We
in a row.
cannot be having our radios on when we're going to you. This is 101.
Oh, back pocket Bill had his phone in his back pocket.
And quick pro tip, there is a slight delay. So if y'all are listening to us, waiting to hear your voice.
Turn the radio
on the radio.
off.
Yeah, you're not going to hear your voice in the time that we actually talk to you.
Pro tips right here.
Yeah, a little pro tip right there, man.
What do we got? One more left?
That's probably how it goes, the absentee, Will, with how the offense was operating yesterday.
I'm told our last caller will be saved for the Buck Rising show.
Oh, look at that.
Buck is going to walk in, and Darrington and Nashville is going to be ready to go for Buck.
So we went from 2 callers to 0 callers.
We have the lines blocked right now, too, because we don't have time to take all of them, so we're waiting.
But literally, my fingers are bleeding. So
Yeah. It's a busy day for Burt back
I'm going to be honest with you. I never hear anything they say. I say, what's your name? Where are you calling from? What do you want to talk about today? And then I just write down Titans.
Has there been anybody you had to flag and be like, we can't put that person on there?
No,
Not today?
everybody's pretty tame, man. Nobody ever wants to call up and bleep anybody, you know, and for the most part. Now, I'm sure there's some people who are like, ooh, if I get in there, I'm going to let them have it. And then they sit on hold for 7 minutes, you know, and it passes by. Time heals all wounds.
I'm tempted to see if I can say what Darrington's going to say before he gets on, but I won't take away Buck's
That's a good bit.
He's waiting to. Did you just make a dad joke?
Huh?
Did I miss it?
No.
Oh, I thought you said something about Darrington and I don't know.
No, I just said
Witty.
I could probably guess what he's going to say. But
Oh.
I won't steal that content
He's
from Buck.
expecting dad jokes.
That's the perfect way to just make Buck be annoyed. Before the show's even started, he walks in and there's one guy in the line and it's Darrington.
Cool.
He can't even do a
Darrington, we
SNL.
appreciate you. You're negative. Yeah. That's okay. You know you're negative.
I think Buck will be waiting on that one though.
Another piece of positivity. You know, I got to sprinkle these in here because I can't handle all the negativity.
Talking
imagine having a coach come up through the ranks in your facility, you know, and maybe he's a water boy, maybe he's a ball boy, and then he ends up coaching on the other team and hanging 70 points on you.
Mike McDaniels.
It could not be me. Because I would quit. I would walk out of that stadium. What's the Bills player that retired at halftime? No, that's it for me, guys. I'm gone. I'm going home.
Former Colts player.
I forget.
I just don't have it in me no more. That's how he talked. He had a really I remember when his teammates were talking about it, they were like, "Yeah, I'm going home, man. I can't do this no more." That'd be me.
Can you imagine the stress though? Like that. I laugh at these types of things when they get hard for players and stuff like that. And it's probably because of my undrafted side that I had to endure. I always have the ability to like put a chip on my shoulder, the mental aspect of fighting. So when you have players that like quit at halftime or want to retire and stuff, I laugh. I do. And that's because like mental toughness is just as much as the 40 time, just as much as the bench, just as much as having a big arm. And it's comical to me that players use that as a cop-out sometimes.
Vontae Davis, the
Vontae Davis.
Chat says.
I just can't do it.
And you know what? I can respect the person that understands that too, because mental awareness is a strength too. But when you sign up for this game, man, I had to tell my kid that the other day. I was like, man, that was a hard hit. I was like, RJ, man, that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're millionaires.
I was looking at that offensive lineman from the Broncos after that game too, and I mean that interview is like, oh my God. He looks like he has been hit in the face.
Yeah.
a million
wanted to cry,
times.
look
Yeah,
like.
it really
And
did.
it sucks to lose. That's the reason we're having this conversation now.
Have you ever had a hit like that, Mom, where you're laying there and you're like, man, I might as well go sell insurance. Like, what am I doing here?
Don't be hating on people selling insurance.
No, ain't nothing wrong with it. It just ain't playing in the NFL, you know?
Bert, no, I haven't, man. And it's because of this.
Having a nice time.
I knew what the heck I signed up for.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of the fan frustration comes into with this team as of late. You know what you signed up for.
Yeah. Well, they want to sign up for an exciting team.
Yeah.
I get it. I do.
What
Back
a
at
day.
it tomorrow.
What a day.
4 hours of. It's all right.
But it was a good time.
We're having a nice time. Tomorrow morning, top 7, bottom 3. Ron Slay, Austin Price. You're not that guy. Locked and loaded.
Will a Titan be on there?
The Buck Rising Show is coming up next. Mike Vrabel talks to the media at 11:45. You want to stick around for that and stick around for Darrington, who is on the line ready to go for Buck as soon as he gets here. That's the show.
Ooh.
Send us home.
Y'all must remember at all times, even though you won't this week, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot. It's Ramon and Kayla with more about window